Welcome everyone to our second week of the AOS League India. I am joined by none other than Australian caster Fu. Fu, thank you once again for joining us for the AOS League.
Thank you, Zenith. I had such a great time last week. Thanks for having me back again. I'm keen to see what action brings in today's warm-up tourney.
It's exciting because we have a few weeks before Worlds. You're heading to Worlds yourself. This is going to be super interesting because it's that transitional phase between everyone getting pumped to see the pros play on the big stage and everyone keeping an eye out on what it could be for them next year as well. And India is a massive region. The amount of players and the amount of teams in India, it does not disappoint. The only thing that we wish could have happened, and we are going to try and push as much as we can for, is to get more teams in India if there's more qualification spots up. But we need good teams at the end of the day, Fu.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a fantastic point. You've got so much demand, right, for the game, so much talent. And I think this is a perfect chance, these grassroots tournaments and these warm-up events, just to test out the synergy between some of these teammates, right? Because we know if you want to create a team to make it into the World Championships, you need like 5 very strong, talented individuals, but they also need to be able to work together. So nothing best than to test it in these, very grueling, tough tournaments against other great teams as well. So let's see what happens.
And that's the thing. I feel like not only is there 5, I feel like India has about maybe 32, and that's the issue, I guess, trying to find the right team,
Hmm.
get the right synergy. But we are up and ready for the semi-finals of this week's weekend clash, and we have PCUP Esports, The Struggle, as well as On Point and Vengeance. I believe we are going to be starting with Game 2, On Point versus Vengeance.
Yeah, I
So
mean, Vengeance came second last week, Zenith. So I'm very excited to see whether they are going to be able to make it through and possibly take the crown this week.
yeah, it is very, very close. I mean, when we looked at the semi-finals and the finals, we were looking at some of the teams from last week. Some of them didn't make it. There's all these kind of abstract challenges going on, which we'll speak about at some point as well. But we've got an Umbreon ban, which is a very, very good ban. I do like seeing an Umbreon in play, but it is a rightful ban on this in this case here, and a Blaziken.
Yeah, very typical bans here, Zenith. I mean, Umbreon is just such a versatile Pokemon to play, whether you want to make that front, tank role or provide some support with its Wish move as well. So definitely, I'm not surprised to see it off the board. And just as I'm saying, not surprised, that Charizard is also going to be staying with the Umbreon in the ban jail today. On Point is saying this Pokemon buffed recently in the patch, very, very strong. We don't want to play into that.
It is uber strong right now, and I'm just thinking, well, was I going to see a Cerulege? But it isn't. We are probably going to see a Cerulege in play. We have, in fact, a Slowbro as the final ban.
Yeah, I mean that's another Pokemon, right? Like the Umbreon, that can really lock down individual players from really going up against a kind of like a team wipe situation. Something like a Cerulege, they love to see that if there's no Umbreon, there's no Slowbro on the team Zenith, they can just run around, dash, use their Phantom Force, and really
Hmm.
potentially wipe out the entire team if they are given the opportunity to. And in response, it seems like Vengeance is saying, we need a tank to kind of lock down this Pokemon, maybe isolate it away from its team. And Kramer is another great Pokemon just to deal that damage, but also get out of tough situations.
Yeah, I've seen some of these players play, and there are some good players that we're going to be watching today. I know there's a lot of hype around Zoltan, and he's going for the Gyarados. That would be amazing to watch. A Gyarados Blissey. He's looking like a good comp so far.
I mean, Gyarados is just so strong when he comes online. So I really want to see Navjay, which we saw last week, really come and play aggressive and really help that Magikarp jump over that waterfall so that it can actually deal that damage when it comes online. Leafeon, another great pick by Animator here. I mean, Leafeon comes online so early. I mean, the meta recently, from what I can see, is that teams really want to take that early game aggressively, right? Whether it's ganking the top path, at the possibly the 9:30 mark even, or even just going into the enemy's central area to just take some buffs, reduce the time it takes for them to come online, and then also obviously delaying the enemy's central jungler to actually get the level 5 or level 6, whichever one they require. But another one that's been very popular in Mamoswine, Zenith. What do you think about that pick?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the recent kind of ways that Mamoswine has been played, but and I think it's necessary with the freeze effects that it can put out there. But on the other hand, like they've just selected a Mimikyu, and I know you and Lobo are both big fans of Mimikyu. This is going to be exciting because they needed a damage dealer, and Mimikyu can do that and hinder the opponents, whilst Leafeon can go in for the kill as well. So this will be very, very interesting. I was a bit worried when I saw the failings there earlier. I was thinking, I don't know if the Leafeon can put on as much damage, but it's good that they've got that Mimikyu there to back them up.
I mean, Mimikyu is going to be a little bit rough into Mamoswine, to be honest. Most Mamoswines nowadays play Ice Fang, so it has that ability to just stop it in its tracks and isolate it, just like the Trevenant is going to be doing for their team as well. Espeon is a very interesting pick here, because I feel like Espeon has really gotten weaker as the meta has shifted a little bit away from something like the... in my opinion, it's one of the weaker evolutions at the moment, just because stuff like your Mimikyu, your Leafeon can just get on it so easily, and if it just uses a Unite, like for example the Leafeon Unite, there's just no chance you can get out unless you have that eject ready, or maybe the Blissey's looking at you. But in this case, I think for Ronin, they're probably going to be looking at uniting that Ceruledge.
Yeah, and this is the semi-finals, game 2 of semi-finals. We'll move to game 1 shortly after this one. From left to right, we have Team On Point in the blue and Team Vengeance on the right-hand side. We've got the lane of Eldegoss and Leafeon, I believe, for Vengeance, Mimikyu in the jungle and Ceruledge in the jungle on the opposing side.
Yeah, I mean, another great start for them in that top path with that Glossy Third to really A-press and just, I guess, stun some of the enemies and delay their evolutions here. At the bottom path here, with Swinub already attacking this in DD with this Eevee as well. I mean, they're both looking for level 4 here, and obviously level 5 on that Phantom to get that Trevenant up and going. Big engage by the Swinub, but unfortunately just not enough manpower really to really get any KOs at the moment. They're just looking to get that neutral farm.
Yeah, we could probably even say that this early game, based on these comps, is going to be the make or break. If these Pokemon can level up early enough, it could be a domination for one side over the other, especially since we've got a Gyarados or a Magikarp looking to go online as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ceruledge already ready to go for these 850 birds coming out. Soulblade goes through, and look at the stun that the Crammer has provided. This is a 4v2 scenario, and it really paid off there, Zenith, because they're going to be able to get some dunks in and some KOs to really bring them that first level lead.
Yeah, that Magikarp is heading into the jungle to try and evolve, but there is a jungle invade with the Cramorant and the Leafeon now, and it is advantage to Vengeance.
Absolutely. So, obviously, a very aggressive start from them. That top pad is already on 12. But this Leafeon has done something fantastic to make sure the buffs stay on their side. And that Ceruledge, we talked about how dangerous it is, but now just falling into the hands of Leafeon at the moment.
Yeah, I guess this is why the Magikarp rotated bottom lane, because of all the attention in top lane here. You can just farm up and turn to that Gyarados, I hope, because that would be at least they'll be able to swing the tide a little bit, because they actually do need to. Aiming and Bs are done, and it is again the Vengeance team that make up for most of the experience there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mimikyu already level 8. That's fantastic for them. They have the ability to use that Shadow Sneak to really dive into the opposing Pokemon's team. But something that's really quite scary for Team On Point right now is the Magikarp. Still not online at the moment. It's 7:30. A little bit of urgency, I think, coming from the team. They really need to make sure this Gyarados comes online, at least for that 7-minute Reggie at the basement.
Yep, especially with the Piloswine. Do we have a Piloswine yet? No, we don't. We still have a... Oh, now we've got it. And they are falling a little bit behind with the experience right now, because we've got level 8s on the board on the other side, and Ceruledge here is still level 7.
I mean, just level 9 Mimikyu has their Unite move. This should be their opportunity to just rip this basement Reggie and get it, because, I mean, in the terms of team fight, you can lock down any single player like a Slowbro Unite. look at that, jumping straight on the Espeon to prevent them from trying to secure with whatever Psybeam move they have there. They get that basement Reggie, and I don't think it's over for them because Play Rough is going through, trying to take out the Swine Up at the moment, but a huge engage here. Trevenant managed to shut that Ice Fang down away from that Eldegoss as well, and they instantly pivot up top. They want to make sure that they can have access to all these paths to score and break them as soon as possible, Zenith.
Yeah, they are starving them for experience, taking out all their jungles and buffs where possible. This Mimikyu is literally dancing around the entire map, taking the farm, and that's the issue. That bottom lane, they didn't have enough damage dealers. Both their main damage dealers were in the top lane, and they didn't really push that or take advantage of that either. Mimikyu does go down here, and we are seeing a little bit of a pushback. Nope. We have the Gyarados online, and this is why the Gyarados has been so important to go online. But the tree does do well to hold on.
Interesting fight there. I mean, there's no objective there at all. I think they just wanted to draw it out. A lot of unites was exchanged. The Serral unite went off, the Cramorant unite as well. I mean, at the end of the day, the levels on paper, Zenith, is still really on the side of 1 point.
Yeah, it is, but this Gyarados has now finally got to level 10, and that could help them in one way, shape, or form. That's a good way to get out that Shadow Sneak, actually, and that was very interesting to watch. We got halfway through the game here now.
Yeah, I mean, just 5 minutes of action straight up. These teams do not want to farm any of these yellow dots on the screen at the moment. It's all about fighting as Play With Me goes back on the Serral ledge. Just managed to knock them out. Espeon unite as well as the Bliss Assistant. But this Mimikyu is still so healthy, Zenith. Nothing is really making an impact to take this fake little Pikachu looking thing down, right?
Yeah, look, Fu, what would you do if you were on point right now? Would you be working on these team fights, or would you be trying to get as much farm off the board and prepare for the latter half of the game?
I think something On Point's doing very well is to get to the objectives very early on. As we look in the basement fight here for that Reggie Ice, the Gyarados unite comes in, the Dragon Current knocking out the Cramorant, and for the first time, it seems like things are going a little bit on the side of Vengeance here as they're able to secure that Reggie Ice, but the fight is still continuing. Dragon Current and the Breath coming out from the Gyarados as he has to retreat, unfortunately, but they have gained something here, Zenith. They have gained a little bit more levels here. On the verge of level 12 is this Gyarados. The Serral is taking the time to level up as well. You know what? Only 100 points, that differs these both teams. They have the possibility to convert this Regieleki as well. I feel like they've really taken a good step back into this game.
Yeah, the way the Gyarados has been playing, actually, he was trying to challenge, and Zoltan was trying to challenge 4v1 there, and he still got away with it. And this is the difference that Gyarados can make in a comp as well, I assume, because we are 3 minutes away. 100 points is not a large point lead.
Yeah, and Serralit's already back into the enemy central area here. They're looking for some sort of pressure in this top half. They see that it's only Leafeon and Eldegoss at the moment, as the Mamo is taking care of 2 members in the middle ground here. Bliss Assistant goes back on. The Leafeon gets shut down immediately, but Trevenant with a massive Horn Leech there to just delay this fight for the Cramorant to come to pop their Unite move. Regieleki still putting a little bit of pressure on, but they're just pushing into this, and somehow the Regieleki managed to go in. The Blissey gets a 29 in, as well as the Serral Edge as well. Oh my god, the Gyarados comes right in time to Zenith to just break that top pad. So definitely a very well fought match for Vengeance over there, but I don't think they get out. So most of the levels will still go back on point.
For a second, I thought that they might be able to defend that pad with the tree, but it somehow snuck in, and they have got a lead back in the game. And this could be a really good comeback, a really good kind of late game resurgence.
Yeah, you're always going to wonder, how much they pay that Regieleki to sneakily the way into that pad. But, only 2 points differing now, so they've definitely done a very good job to come back into it. It seems like Vengeance is going to say, you know what, you can have this Registill at the bottom. Obviously not ideal, but they don't want to lose any more levels. The Blissey doesn't have their Unite move, actually, so definitely a little bit scary for them if they want to approach this Ray fight with all the resources. But things are honestly looking very, very close here, Zenith.
How did they set up for this fight then? What would be the best kind of strategy in your opinion? As they
I think they do need to get that control, right? They know it's close battle. They want to make sure that the Mimikyu does not shut down one of their attackers, especially looking for that Bliss assistance on that Serral Edge. But right now, they don't have the Bliss Unite at all, Zenith.
Yep, here we go with the 2-minute fight here as well. And let's see how they stay control, because both teams are just feeling each other out, and it looks like they are going to engage for you.
Yeah, the Mammoth Smash goes straight in. The Psychic Soleil not managed to stop anybody here. Sellers goes through, potentially has a good engage, but the Leafeon managed to shut that down. It's only Gyarados remaining. And within 5 seconds there, Zenith, the whole of Team Vengeance is just shut down. It is going to be an ace for On Point, and without even needing to get the Rayquaza, the game is over for them. That is game number 1 for On Point. What a great start to tonight's semi-final.
Absolutely amazing. We thought we were going to see it go a certain way. You can literally see the point differentials is so minuscule, and that Ray fight made all the difference. And that Ray fight was won by Vengeance. Very well done to them to take the first game. Now, I do believe it is fearless drafts, right? So they won't be using the same ones again, which makes things very
You're
interesting.
actually right. I almost forgot about that. So that means, we won't be able to see a Sterilage on Team Vengeance for the next game here. So On Point really has that opportunity to take this Pokemon away. Obviously, in my opinion, I don't think Sterilage was too impactful that game, but you also have to hand it to the fact that Ronan didn't have the Bliss Assistance or the Blissey Unite. So it's very hard, right, to go into something like a Leafeon and a Cramorant whose Unite do so much burst damage and not have something like a Bliss Unite to back you up there. But, it's still the first game. It is best of 3, Zenith, so things definitely can change. I'm sure Vengeance, showing out their performance last week can definitely adapt to this situation and maybe come up with a draft that's a little bit more impactful. I honestly think On Point came out flying in that game. They saw the opportunity. They rotated the Cramorant up top for those birds that come out 850, and then I feel like Vengeance, was a little bit caught off guard there because it was a 2-player path for them, but then there are 4 members of the enemy team on top as well. It's very hard to win a 2v4, especially that early in the game.
And we've seen that a little more common in some of these other tournaments off season, where we've had 4 people top, almost part of that strategy. It kind of reminded me of year 1 and 2 with the old map, and where you had just that Lucario, working that top lane and everyone on the bottom lane. And this is the kind of strategy I'm hoping to see when we see some of the Worlds matches as well. We will see different ways of teams playing together, whether it's in the lane or whether it's in the jungle. We've had recently the jungle splitting with the Eevee family Pokemon. So it's nice seeing these different variants of strategy and not the same things again and again, because that means that those plays need to also be countered, and we need to find ways to deal with 4 people at top or a double invade. And it's very disruptive. It is very disruptive to the norm that a lot of the teams have practiced, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a bit of mind games as well, right? Because you never know whether the opposition is actually going to send someone up for that 4-man gank, or they're just going to play it safe and go 3-man. So it's about, just testing the water, seeing what each team like to play with and what Pokemon they're going to bring to the table. So speaking of Pokemons they're going to bring to the table, remember, Fearless Draft, everyone. We've got a side switch here. We got Vengeance on the orange team, On Point on the purple team here, and Trevenant and Charizard banned for the first, I guess, Pokemon's going into the banjo.
Yeah, I don't think they want anyone to play the Charizard Fearless or not, but we are going to be banning the Cramorant on the other side. Did they need to ban the Cramorant, or is that to stop the other opponents from playing it in the Fearless draft?
Yeah, well, don't forget, Cramorant is definitely very strong. So if they know, the Cramorant has been a problem, it's something that they definitely want to shut down. Slowbro, another Pokemon. We've seen it all before. This poor Pokemon not able to just get played in most of these games we've been spectating, right, Zenith?
Yeah, it is just such a strong defender and one of my most used Pokemon as well. It is simple to play, but very, very effective if you can do it at the right moments, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, looking at a first pick Blaziken coming out of On Point over here. And I mean, when you can't have Ceruledge, you have to go for something else that's just as strong with that secure potential as well. So I think it's definitely a very good pick. And in response, I'm actually surprised that Lucario comes out so early. Perhaps it's another comfort pick, or since it is fearless, we don't have access to similar Pokemons that we can't use, in this second game over here. But Umbreon there, able to maybe respond to this Blaziken pick, maybe shut it down with mean look or the foul play to displace it as well. This is going to be quite important, I think, for On Point to think about what their next two picks are going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because right now I'm a big fan of the Umbreon pick, especially since there is no tree and there is no Slowbro. There is probably no better defender. Am I wrong? Is Crustle a better defender in your opinion than Umbreon
I mean, something that they
overall?
could have picked is Mamoswine, right? I'm not
Mm.
sure whether did they have Mamoswine in that other game. We'll have to check for you guys. But yeah, Crustle is another Pokemon we've seen not too much nowadays. I think since the resurgence of how Trevenant, Slowbro, and Umbreon, the trinity of the defenders that people like to play in the teams that we've seen nowadays. But speaking of Crustle, it seems like On Point could be taking that for them as well. Clef is, I think, a very interesting pick. I think decent for Blaziken. We can stick together kind of like a death ball strategy where you have a Crustle, and a Clefable running together with a Blaziken just staying with the group, getting healed at the same time, doing that damage that it's so good at doing, potentially will be very good for them. Hooper coming out as the support, Ronan picking them up with the Delphox that we've seen a lot nowadays with the 5-spin buff.
Yeah, with the Hooper, and just to confirm, there was a Mamoswine in the last match, so they couldn't pick it. But with the Hooper, it just opens up for some really good macro play if they can really utilize. And this doesn't really come down to a gaming technical sense as much as it. I mean, it might do if you use this trick, but it also comes down to a lot of that kind of awareness and that macro play and the way to kind of lead the team. So this will be very interesting to see if they can pull it off really well, especially with a Delphox and a Venusaur. There's a lot of zonal pressures that are going to be applied.
And just something I am surprised is the Delphox is not running the Cursed Incense, which is the anti-heal item, to kind of negate the healing powers of something like a Blaziken, a Fable, and even a Cerulege as well, if they're running that Blitterbait moveset. It seems like, oh, they are. As we're
They are,
speaking,
yeah.
Zeno, they kind of manifested. We've got 3 members of Vengeance going to have that Cursed Incense. So that's really good to see. That's something I like, teams adapting to the
Mm.
opposition's draft. It's not really about, all the time what Pokemon you pick into it. It's also a little bit about the items and how you can best use your Pokemon with the items to kind of combat what the opposition has brought to the table.
Yeah, I do believe Sylveon, Clefable, and even a bit of Blaziken and Cerulege all get some health back, so this will kind of limit them as well with those cursed items.
Absolutely. So we have a game number 2. So the burden is on Vengeance here to send us to a game number 3. It's a very important game for them to play right here.
We've got the Crustle and the Eevee Sylveon bottom lane. Going top will be the Blaziken, where I do believe it does prefer being top. And from the other side, the Delphox is bottom lane. The Hooper is helping the Bulbasaur out in the jungle. Probably will take that red buff and head top to help Lucario.
Yet again, the Torchic is quite a weak top laner until it comes online. So definitely another, I guess, a task for this Shataka to, make sure that they are able to get that Torchic to Combusken as soon as possible, so they have access to that dash and kick move. The Lucario looking to be taken down by the Clefairy, though. That is going to be a little bit of a mistake on their end, and a fantastic start for On Point over there. So honestly, I want to see that aggression coming out from On Point once again.
Yeah, Zoltan does play, as he did play with Gyarados last game as well. He does play an aggressive all-rounder, but he did not need to get KO'd there too early in the game as well. And here are the 850Bs, and wow, it's a good push from Team On Point there, but the Hoop Portal, sorry, it's a good point for Vengeance, but the Hoop Portal does save them. It is 4 top again, Fu.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, they've sent up a bot player and, caught them off by surprise. Obviously, they didn't manage to get any KOs there, but definitely, it shows that they are still committing to this very aggressive gameplay, which I think will pay off in the long run.
That was an interesting trap that the Cross will try to set up, but then kind of got caught in its own mean look trap from the Umbreon. So it'll be interesting to see how this micro play kind of unfolds with the defenders as well, because they are technical defenders. They're not just the straight up bulky Snorlaxes.
No, they're not. And as we pan towards these 8-minute birds over here, another bit of experience galore. And it seems like it manages to get that Venusaur to level 7. So definitely a very good start for them. They have access to that solar beam. They have the range now, which I think is something that On Point actually lacks in their comp. They're all about that dive-heavy Pokemons, whereas Vengeance like to play a little bit more back. They want that CC from the Delphox, the Beam from the Solar Beam, Venusaur as well. So, I mean, both teams just testing the waters at the moment. The score is so close. Some attack weight stacks for that Lucario in the top half is guaranteed there, it seems. But, I mean, it's all going to be about what they prioritize, whether they want this Basement Reggie here, Zenith, or they want that Regieleki. So, as the Venusaur gets put up there, it makes me wonder whether they're going to actually overload this top half, get some dunks in, and then come down with the Hooper, because that's what Hooper's good for.
This Combusken does just get away from the Venusaur there, and it's going to be tough by himself against 3 here in the top lane as well. Crosswell is there to help, but that bottom objective is being worked away by the team in the blue. Lucario, can Lucario get away from that? It just about manages as well. This is getting very close for both teams trying to stake as much farm as possible.
Yeah, really good work on the side of On Point to break that basement pad there for Vengeance, because that means the Hooper is now limited for its rotations. And guess what? They haven't even done that Regieleki in the time the basement Regi was taken. It does look like they're going to be able to convert this though, nonetheless, Zenith. But where will they be able to, get some sort of push going? There's no level 9 Delphox at the moment. No fanciful fireworks at their disposal, but it looks like they're still maybe looking for a pick for Fable. Just managed to get out that situation. Hooper Portal is very good to get that Umbreon out. They go back in though. Is this a mistake here? As the Phantom Fireworks finally comes in, the Verdant goes through. Crossdale goes down. Cerulege goes down. What an engage from Vengeance at the moment. They might be able to turn this fight around. Blaziken just managed to get out of that beam coming off the screen. More Unites are getting popped. The very Frolic coming out from the Sylveon as they're going to be running to take that Hooper out of play. And I think that just means that a little bit of their power is now, it's all to do with backing away at the moment. As soon as your support player, the one that can TP you in and out of the fight, is out of the match at the moment, we don't want to grief and give away too many levels.
No, this is exactly what I meant by the zonal pressures that they're going to be applying. We had the fanciful fireworks and solar beams just really pushed, but I don't think they fully took advantage of that situation. And it was kind of defended quite tamely at the end by the Crosswell, but it is showing us a sneak peek of the pressures that they could apply, and that healing from Hooper. You look at that, those close chances, they're just getting away with it. And here we have...
I'm not sure whether Vengeance really... sorry, you go.
Yep, we've got another top push, and this time I think they're going to try and make it count. The goals are going in, the Phantom Fireworks does go in, and that tier is broken. At this point, we have 2 seconds before the bottom objective and 15 before the top objective, where everyone is there partying.
Yeah, so Hooper Unbound comes out a little bit early, to be honest, but maybe they just want to make sure that this pad is not broken for them, because, if it is, then Hooper can really not pull people up and down too efficiently anymore. Blaziken able to be sent down here on the side of On Point. Looks like they're going to prioritize this Regice before making their way up top. Perhaps it's just a defend angle for them. Maybe get a few backcaps here while most of the team is going to be up top. I mean, the vision is there are 5 members of Vengeance up top, so this should be an easy 62. And with the Clefable and the Crustle there, Zenith, I feel like they are going to be able to defend that quite wellly. A little bit of an engage here coming out from Cerulege. It managed to pick up the Hooper, so no more portals for them for at least 5 seconds here. Cerulege still able to get out of the situation with that Phantom Force as the Fanciful Fireworks goes on to the tier 2 pad. Verdant Anger comes out from the Venusaur as well. Gets a Chaos Streak of 2 though. This goes in. Perhaps it is literally a pixel away. Blaziken managed to eject there in time, but the Delphox able to get out of that scenario. Umbreon goes down. This Regieleki is still active, but I feel like it's just, yet again, Vengeance has run out the juice there, as it seems like the Venusaur is now dropping down to Cerulege.
This is the interesting thing. They united so early with that Hooper and kind of telegraphed exactly their game plan to the opponents. And the opponents just went bottom lane, got the objective, and still defended against the Regieleki and scored, what, 62 on the bottom base?
Yeah, exactly. And this brings them the lead going into this 3 minute mark over here. So I feel like there's just going to be a little bit of a. I'm not sure whether there's a miscommunication from Vengeance or a bit of like self doubt in terms of the power they have to push a pad. Because if they're going to be playing like this, where it seems like some of the members are now a little bit distracted with a little bit of the tiny 1v1 fights going on the map, there's not going to be enough manpower to really break a pad like they really intended to do.
Exactly. Exactly, you're absolutely correct. And this is it's almost a little bit of hesitancy, or maybe caution, as we have both the teams rotating onto two opposite sides for the two opposite objectives at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? You can see the two different priorities coming out from On Point and Vengeance here. On Point saying we want to kind of like get sort of a gacha system for the bottom basement Reggie. They're looking for Reggie Steel at the bottom for that damage buff, but Reggie Rock is still very very good for that cluster as well. Meanwhile, Vengeance is saying no, we want that pressure, possibly a score on that top half with that Reggie Alecki as they head into this 2 minute fight here, Zenith.
Yep, it is more about who can not finish the objective first, but actually who can position themselves the best for this Ray fight. The Regieleki has gone in, and is the Delphox going to make his way there?
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting Pokemon to send to go score, but that's okay. They do have the Hooper. However, Lucario goes straight down to Silvio, and suddenly this just seems like a green light for them to flip. Maybe they turn from this scenario, but this Rayquaza is now extremely low. Delphox comes through the portal though, the beam off the screen. No, it's going to be the Delphox, the skill rate. It is all over suddenly for them. Blaziken and Clefable knocked out on the side of On Point here. So, a really, really good, I think, and a bit of relief coming out from Vengeance, the fact that they are able to get that Rayquaza and possibly send us to a Game 3 scenario. It is not over, though, ladies and gentlemen. There's still a minute to go, and just shy of 120 points differing between these two teams. Sylveon goes down on side of On Point, though. Crustle does not seem like it's going to be able to make this fight out alive at the moment. Only up to Cerulege here to really make a defense. But, I mean, they need to score, don't they, Zenith? They are behind at the moment.
Yeah, but there's 40 seconds and just over 100 differentials. Like, there's a big chance that they could still push something if they work something really well. But it looks like it's going to be guarded quite well by the Hooper, the Delphox, and the Lucario. Yeah, and they've scored another 100 there. I believe that was the Umbreon, right?
Yeah. I mean, with the Umbreon still at the shield there we saw going through there, it's going to be a tall mountain for them to really climb with these 20 seconds left. I mean, this is fantastic, right? This is what we like to see from these talented teams. They're able to get a game down, right? Obviously, the momentums has shifted a little bit. They are able to win this game. I mean, it's all up to this final 10 minutes that we're about to see in a bit, guys. I mean, this is what we, I guess, like to witness when we're casting, right? We obviously like to see 2-0s coming out from a very strong team, but just looking at the scores from the AEOS League, actually, both On Point and Vengeance are kind of top of their group, so it is no surprise to me that they do take it to that Game 3 scenario.
Yeah, every week we're going to be seeing the kind of best of the groups. Essentially, for those that don't know, we have several divisions set up as groups where teams are going to be playing throughout the week, and the weekend is showcasing the best of the best teams. We mentioned a little bit earlier that there are other challenges and other kind of perks within this tournament whereby a team can challenge another team and they can actually stake a place in these kind of finals as well. And that's why we haven't seen some of the other teams here, which we did see last week. But this kind of just adds on to the spice of the competition as well.
And just on that point as well, the Bad Match who actually took out this tournament last week has actually not made it through round one this week. They actually went down to the struggle, which we will be spectating in a bit for the other semi-final matchup. So, I mean, it just goes to show, right, how volatile some of these games can be. If you make one mistake, that could just cost you the entire game. And if, make a couple more, that's the whole set gone. And suddenly your warm-up tournament is out the window. But it's really good that we actually have these warm-up tournaments because during the week, obviously, it is crunch time. You want to play your best. You want to play what you're comfortable with. But the weekend is all about trying new stuff, right? And testing whether there's team synergy with some sort of other Pokemon picks. Especially going back to the fact that it is a fearless draft, isn't it?
Yeah, that just makes it even more interesting. But look, we've got this kind of off season to really try out, test out, and do what the teams need to do and adjust. But heading into that next year's kind of worlds and the next year's kind of regionals as well, we have so many top teams in India that we're witnessing, and we do need some spots in there. And I do hope this change really helps to benefit them because they are working really, really hard. And you've got regions that have more than one spot with, maybe 10% of the amount of teams that actually sign up when you compare that in this way. We are heading into game three, though, Fu.
Yeah, game three here. Very, very important game for both these teams now. I'm sure both On Point and Vengeance want to make it into that grand finals for these warm-up tournament today. Umbreon Slow Brand coming out from Vengeance over here. So, we saw it was one Umbreon on one side, Slow on the other side in those past two games, but it seems like Vengeance are really saying, to make sure we win this match, I don't want to see any of these defenders on the field there. And yet again, another defender taken out, and Blaziken getting into that ban jail for On Point there.
We have the Charizard in play for the first time.
Yeah, Zoltan going on.
Yeah, but he's played some all-rounders and he's played them quite well. I think he played better on the Gyarados than on the Blaziken last game.
I mean, both Pokemon needing to come online to really show their impact. So Charizard is really no different here. I am surprised at that muscle band though. Normally the Charizards I know probably run something like Anti-Heal or even something like a Scope. But hey, I mean, each Pokemon have their own, I guess each player rather have their own comfort items as well. Eject is another interesting one. You really don't get to see that too often on a Charizard. Normally, I love seeing X Attack, which is something very common, especially the fact that, the Unite move has changed the way that you can actually pick up everybody at the moment. So X Attack definitely has really good synergy for that. Speaking of the defenders and, I guess, the available defenders, should I say, and supporters there, we've got Crustle, Clefable coming out from Vengeance, and a Blissey Snorlax locked in for Glitchy and Sion here. I mean, this is going to be a quite an interesting matchup here. We don't see Snorlax too much anymore, do we, Zenith?
No, this is going to be interesting because you're picking from the rest of the bunch when you've got a ban of Slowbro and Umbreon and a tree. The Trinity of Defenders, as you call it, have all been banned and locked away. And we are going to be seeing a Sylveon pop off here, and a Hyper Voice Sylveon will probably be very useful in this match.
Yeah, it looks like from that build, it's going to be something like a Mystical Fire with a Muscle Band over there. Dragonite is coming to the field for Vengeance here. So I do feel like that the story behind Vengeance's draft here is really, we've got the kind of the insurance that Dragonite provides for the secure on Hyper Beam. We've got Pokemon that are very self-sufficient, such as the Sylveon and the Crustle. And obviously that Clefable is going to be sticking close to that Charizard to make sure that they are staying in the playing field, not getting knocked out too early so they can use that Unite move to full effect. And then meanwhile, On Point story is more like, yes, we want to protect the Delphox and the Venusaur. We have a very strong front lines such as Snorlax and that Blissey even to keep the members sustained. The Metagross can, do so much in terms of just isolating a bunch of enemies such as the Clefable, which can't really get out of a Blade arena that the Metagross can set up. The Crustle really can't get out either. There are a lot of Pokemons that don't have a lot of eject mobility or dash mobility, as they call it, coming out from Vengeance. So I do feel like Metagross was a decent pick. Obviously, it's on a different team now. I do want to see that Delphox come online with that Unite move and really play into that and try to push some pads if they can on the side of On Point.
Yeah, it just feels like one team has said, look, these guys played us with the Delphox and the Venusaur without some really good pressure, but we can play it better. And they've just selected the zonal duo to heap on the damage that they took themselves in the last game.
And as we go on to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Vengeance on the purple team, On Point on the orange team here, as we send that dragon, the Dratini rather, into that central area. They want to get that level 7 ASAP. That's what I want to see from Vengeance here.
Yep, and this time there's no assistance in the jungle for the Bulbasaur, but we still have a Venusaur looking to go online and a Dragonite as the opposing jungler. Are we going to see 4 people top lane again, Fu? I think that has worked in the first 2 matches, less so in the last match, but let's see if the strategy changes this time around.
And both, I guess, top path or rounders looking for those, I guess, 3 evolutions rather, to come up and become online there. So not a really, I guess, skewed top path. I can see Beldum needing that Metagross, and obviously this Charmander screaming for that Charizard as soon as possible. But with that pick on the Blissey, things are looking a little bit good for the Vengeance there, as they're going to be setting up for this gank there. Vengeance setting up that Sylveon here. So to answer your question, it is going to be another 4v3. Chansey coming back on. I mean, there's not a lot a Sludge Bomb can really do in this scenario. They're just going to be looking at securing some of these farm. But with that greatly placed Hyper Voice Zenith, that means most of that experience is going to go on the side of Vengeance.
I didn't get to check, but I think he is still holding the muscle band, even though he's got a Hyper Voice here.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's just going to be interesting in the way they play that, because normally we see that muscle band on a Mystical Fire set, but it's doing, wonders at the moment. It's just zoning all of them out. This Fennekin has to eject out of the way, and that's going to be a KO on the side of On Point there to take out not only the Dragonair, but also that Sylveon as well. So On Point setting someone late for this gank actually paid off for them, as these Fire Blasters are going off, getting some attack weight stacks is this Metang, as the Sylveon is coming back to try to take out this Ivysaur. But the zoning capacity coming out from the Fire Spin now as well. I mean, I think that's really, really well played for On Point.
It was really, really good play, sending that bottom laner to the top lane to jump in at the right time, because they then outnumbered them. A bit late for the 8-minute bees, but this Charizard is just looking for levels right now, and this Metang is doing what he can to kind of obstruct it from becoming a flying fire-breathing lizard. Venusaur is also online, and we are going to be seeing a Charizard in 1 level time.
0 points for Vengeance at the moment, and I think something that's great for On Point fans is seeing that Delphox get that level 7 so early on, even though they didn't go to that central area, because that Venusaur has, taken all of that farm. So we got a couple level 7s, a level 8 Delphox for On Point. Meanwhile, some Pokemons are ticking over now. We got Charizard coming online. Obviously, that Dragonair is still looking for that level 8 for the Dragonite. I'm curious to see. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Hyper Beam, but only time will tell as teams are converging onto that basement Reggie. It's going to be a Reggie steal, so very important to secure for either of these teams here, though. Beam comes through from that Venusaur to secure that. Hyper Voice getting a little bit CC now by the Fire Spin and the Beam combo. It is just locking a Pokemon in, Zenith, and then the Venusaur is just saying, I see what you're doing. I'm going to shoot my beam, and guess what? Members are just dropping out from Vengeance. So that's going to be a pad broken, though. Very good stuff for On Point at the moment.
Yep, we got a Hyper Beaming Dragonite that's online, but is ineffective against these 4. It's exactly what you said. The 2 frontline and the 2 beamers or the 2 zonal players behind them just doing enough of the damage to take advantage.
And something else I've noticed, right? We talked about how the Sylveon is Hyper Voice. I honestly think that is not a good pick, because we talked about, the Unite move of Metagross. It builds that wall, right? That Blade Arena. If you're Hyper Voice, you don't have a dash to get out. So you're really limiting your capability to get out and be that self-sufficient Pokemon that we talked about before. So let's look at this. Blade Arena goes through the Phantom Fireworks right in the pit as well. This is an unbeatable combo, it seems, for On Point at the moment, as they're going to be able to lock that Regieleki in, get some dunks as well. Mathematic is being calculated on top to get the maximum overdunk possible. 242 to 27 at the moment. I mean, things are flying right now for On Point.
Yes, a huge advantage in terms of points as well. More than 215 points. I believe that was my quick maths there as well, Fu. Not very good at it, but let's see how this unfolds, because they have a lot of work to do to kind of claw back against this team who have a Delphox on level 11 right now. Yeah,
a little bit scary here. Sylveon getting out as soon as the rest of the team show up there, and as we see a Dragonite Unite move going deep into the pit with a Charizard as well. some way they're able to make a comeback for this response fight here. I thought it was over when the Sylvan goes down early, but the Metagross comes down, may have something to say about this fight, perhaps able to defend it. Does it have his Unite move? No, it doesn't. So it's just going to be just I guess, a raw fight here. Crustle pops his Unite move, Fire Spin comes out, the Delphox tick just in time so that the enemy team can't actually score there. There has to be a miracle there for them to be able to break that pad. And I mean, not only did they lose, I guess, not being able to break that basement pad there, Zenith, they also lose the Regice, which is just more levels on point at the moment. I think Vengeance really needs to pick their next engagement properly and think about whether they can actually win that fight. If not, I feel like farming is the best case scenario.
Yeah, rather than giving away any XP like that. But this Phantom Fireworks is just popping off like every minute. It seems it's just that cooldown is ridiculous.
Oh, yet again, the compute and crash coming in from Metagross gets, I guess, countered by the Charizard Unite to be able to take it off. Bliss Assistance goes onto the Snorlax, though. A little bit of an interesting pick for a Bliss Unite as the Snorlax is just running away. I mean, it's great that the Snorlax lived that, but think about your attackers at the moment. We need to make sure that they stay in the playing field because these are going to be important for this defense. That Verdant Anger Beam shuts down that Charizard going in. Fire Spin yet again knocking away that Sylveon. Sylveon not able to make an impact at all at the moment. As you know, I feel like I'm a beaten record at the moment, Zenith, because yet again On Point has won that engagement.
Yeah, and they are super confident with defending. They've defended so well, both top pad and bottom pad. And this is like really good kind of textbook play from some of their zonal characters right now. We've got the top objective still up. Metagross is there guarding it. I think is just waiting for the right time so that no one gets it until they need to get it themselves.
Yeah, something I want to see Vengeance do is when they have that Charizard Unite to really pick up one of the attackers or I guess the main high level damage dealers on the side of On Point. Because yes, they picked up the Metagross, it was great, they knocked it out, but they didn't really get the full effect, right? If you have I guess the strategy we talked about before for On Point is protecting the presidents, right? Which is the Venusaur and the Delphox. If you do not manage to pick it out, that you're just going to be able to run into more Fire Spins and more Solar Beams. So I do want to see Zoltan actually look for these Pokemons as the primary target rather than something like a frontline. But 13 seconds to go, Zenith. This is going to be it. This is the fight to get into the grand final.
I think they need to. You're absolutely correct. They need to target the Venusaur or the Delphox and just unite them, get them out of the way, and then work through the Metagross in the end. And that's it. They won't have any more secures for this Ray fight. Foot, take it away.
And look, Charizard doing exactly what we talked about, taking away that Delphox. Immediately, Crustle ejects in. The Bliss Assistant goes on to the Metagross to make sure that they have that sustain while their attacks come back. No Venusaur, no Delphox for them. Sylveon takes on Snorlax. This is a turn of events here, Zenith. As the Metagross is just having to Magnet Rise away from the scenario. They have the Hyper Beam ready to go on Dragonite. It is all up to the Blissey to make a miraculous secure. The Sylveon managed to take it away. What a fantastic controlled fight that was by Vengeance there. I honestly thought that it was going to go on the side of On Point, but that Charizard ult to initiate it all, getting that Delphox out of the playing field, Zenith really won them that Ray fight.
Yeah, and they need to get these points in without breaking their shields. Charizard's there ready to score, but someone needs to score this top lane. There we go. Can Charizard score now?
Well, they are in the lead, and I think with another 100, it might seal the deal here. On Point was on point the entire match, but Vengeance coming through, you know, true to the name, really, getting that, I guess, revenge for losing that game number 1 there, but it just goes to show it doesn't matter as they're going to be able to set up a defense here. Obviously, the point disparity is not too large, still able for a comeback, but they know they have that lead at the moment. There are 5 members of On Point trying to make something happen in that top part though. Hyper Beam takes out the Delphox. They have the targets now. Nav knowing what to do at the moment as we see a Snorlax trying to zone them out. Most of On Point is trying to converge. Eject comes out to the Venusaur, but goes down to Hyper Beam yet again. Snorlax takes his nap in the middle of the path there, but it is really game over at the moment as the clock takes down. Charizard gets a 3 KO. Dragonite converting that Snorlax as well. Make that a possible 4 KO? No, it's going to be 4 members of On Point down and obviously a team wipe to seal the deal for this game at number 3.
That was a comeback and a half to witness, especially with such domination for about 8 to 9 minutes of the match as well. But we do have a winner going into the finals. That was exciting for the first BO3. That was actually pretty hard to predict.
I mean, yeah, I mean, most of the time, I think we were both speaking on the side of On Point, right? How well the engagements was and how, a lot of the fights, it seems like there wasn't actually really benefit in terms of the reward from getting those engagements for Vengeance there. But just, I mean, Zoltan getting a huge engagement on the Delphox, wiping out that Venusaur as well. And then, like we said before, the insurance policy that Hyper Beam has on the side of Nav, that just gives, pretty much a 99% chance of securing against a Blissey there.
Yeah, we are looking at PCUP Esports and the struggle in the final semi-finals match, actually, before we head into the finals itself. And they're an exciting duo of teams to actually watch. The struggle has been noted as one of the top teams in this competition as well. So I'm excited to see them play, and then I'm excited to see how Vengeance plays against them, because from the side of Vengeance, I feel like they made the right moves when it mattered, but throughout the games there was quite a few mistakes throughout, and there was kind of ways where they were being outplayed by On Point as well. So this will be really interesting to see heading into the semi-finals game 1 match as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very keen to see that as well. But just before that, it seems like we have an EU weekly teaser to show everybody. So that's what we've heard from production. So hopefully everyone enjoys. We're going to have the action as soon as we come back. Oh, okay. As we wait for the EU weekly teaser, I do have a little bit of context for you regarding the semi-final we're going to watch, actually. It is, like you said, between Pickup Esports and the struggle, or the strugglers. Actually, from what we've heard, Bad Mash, which was the winner of last week's warm-up tournament, actually agreed into how they can pick, I guess, their opponent for this round 1 for the warm-ups. They actually agreed to verse the struggler, and actually the struggle came out on top 2-1. So the winner of last tournament, warm-up tournament in the week prior, actually got knocked out first round today, and somehow the struggler has now made it through the entire match into the semi-finals here, Zenith. So, like you said, it's going to be very exciting to see if they can make the grand final and then win it for this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get into a challenge and then lose it, then I'm hoping that team that you lost to actually does make it all the way as well. I think that would be a favorable way to look at something that actually maybe they shouldn't have accepted that challenge. But just to give you some context and the viewers some context on these challenges as well. So the Engage server has been running Engage coins, this own kind of server currency, where those coins can be spent in competitive ways, where people can choose what to ban or what can't be banned, or what opponents to play, or even actually just have wager matches. And all of that is being tried and tested in the AEOS League India. We also have, and on the point of the teaser as well, we have the Engage weeklies that are starting up this Friday. Now, this weeklies is going to be at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. CET, where teams are going to be playing across from EU and maybe some teams in the NA as well. We previously did have weekly challenges like this, or weekly tournaments like this held in Europe, but there hasn't been one recently, so we've looked to fill that spot, and we've got some more exciting things coming up along the way, because we are going to be launching the AEOS League EU after the Worlds as well. So that's going to be another interesting format to play as well. Now, Fu, you're actually traveling to Hawaii yourself to see the Worlds. What are you most excited to see?
I mean, if it's anything like the atmosphere that was in Japan last year, I mean, it's going to be nothing short of just pure excitement. And I think it's something that is really hard to describe when a great group of people that share the same passion for a game and competition are in the same room together, watching two incredible teams go up against each other. Like, I remember losing my voice after day one, and then rocking up to day two, which was the finals, not having the ability to really scream at the top of my lungs for the team I was going for. But I mean, just exciting. And also, it is a great time to meet people from, the other side of the world that we only speak from online. I think I've made some incredible friends, I guess, casting and obviously doing a little bit of streaming as well. And to meet people in person, get some photos, and really just like talk face to face. I think that's just such an invaluable experience to have.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing you're gonna make sure you don't do this time around, which is lose your voice too early. Because we need some support there, and you're gonna be going there representing Antic Esports, right?
Yeah, so I am very lucky to be a substitute for them. So we're going to be going there for obviously the boot camping as well, but also obviously, cheering them on for all their, I guess, day one matches, and hopefully they get into day two.
Well, I do hope to see you in the next EUIC then with Antic Esports. I think that would be really great to have you in London, and amongst us, we can take pictures and have some fun as well. When we organize we've got a big event coming up. We've got a big event coming up in the EUIC. We'll be inviting a lot of people to that, and we'll be doing our award ceremonies for the AOS League and the Engage Master Series that we had a winner for a few months ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I definitely want to invite you to that event when the EUIC does take place as well next year in February.
Yeah, I mean that's really exciting. I didn't actually know whether it was going to be another EUIC or they're going to change the spot there. But from what you say, it sounds like it's going to be another great LAN event at EU. And I've never been to London, so count me in. I definitely want to fly over this to see what the atmosphere is like over there. But it seems like from production, we have gotten the news that we're going to go straight into the next semi-final here against Pickup Esports and also the Struggle. So as we go into draft, I want to see something a little bit different here, Zenith. I mean, we saw a lot of the bands from Slowbro and Umbreon, as well as Trevenant and Blaziken. I mean, I want to see it switch it up a bit. Maybe let a Slowbro through to see what happens, or maybe even that Umbreon that everyone's so scared about.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the variations myself. I on the one hand, I'm just very glad that it's fearless drafts as well, so we don't see the same ones being picked, same ones being banned. There's a little more thinking that needs to go behind the drafts as well. Not that drafts needs any more thinking, like there's already a complication there, but just like I said earlier, just adds a little bit of spice. And for this region, we'll call it masala that they add to the pot here, which is going to be super interesting to see. So if we are ready, we will head over to Pickup Esports and the Struggle, and the winners of those two teams will be playing off against Vengeance, who we just saw in this first match as well. For those that are tuning in, we are streaming both on YouTube and on Twitch. I think we have some OCE representatives in the Twitch chat as well. I think we have Hagu Sadik, who you might know as well.
Yeah, that is the legendary Dojo player from our region. So big shout out to them. And something that I've actually picked up on for Picked Up Esports, Zenith, is that they actually are now, I don't think so they've only lost one match in their group. So they're actually at the bottom of Group F at the moment. But the fact that they've made it through all the way to semi-final. I mean, this is a great run for them, and if anything, it sets up a really good foundation for next week's tournament, right, for the league. Because if obviously, it's hard to go in and have a rough start into a league, but if in the warm-up tournaments you're doing very well, I'm sure the synergy carries over when it really matters next week. So I'm keen to see how it actually goes, because on the other hand, the strugglers are number one in their group at the moment with a one match win under the belt. So this could be a underdog story or a dark horse coming out from Pickup Esports.
Yeah, there's some really key names that we can kind of keep an eye on, especially since this is going to be an ongoing league series. So in Group A, you've got India Elites and Dark Soul as the top two teams. In Group B, you have Team Straw Hats. I assume they're One Piece fans. And the original one. In Group C, we have Deadly Esports and Liquid that have taken the top two spots. And Group D, we have On Point and Vengeance. So they're in a group together, and they just had the semi-finals that we just witnessed. Bad Mash comes in first in Group E, followed by Binam team. And Group F is Intensity and Vilixium. Group G is Uni Plus and Ascenders. And finally, the Strugglers and Flip It make up for Group H's top 2. Tell us about the drafts here, Fu.
So it looks like, much to my dismay, the Umbreon and Slowbro is still not able to get out of the van jail, and, likewise with the Charizard and the Hooper there. But I'm very surprised they're welly locking in that Trevenant, because that gives Tush the ability to lock in that Settlage for this game number 1. It looks like they're going to commit and double down with Zola on the Blaziken as well. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that means a team, the Struggle, cannot play these 2 Pokemons in the next game. So they're really going in and gambling and playing, I guess, the most meta Pokemon for this game number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if they're playing it cautious or playing it adventurous here. They can dominate here, but it looks like I think Pickup has picked a very stable comp to start with, whilst the Struggle have actually gone with the damage dealers first. Let's see how this unfolds. We've got an Eldegoss and a Russell here. That's a really good pairing alongside the Clefable and the Tree on the other hand.
Oh, I was going to say, a little bit of an interesting item setup for Aqua at the moment. I'm not sure whether the Goal-Getter is definitely the best item for Sylveon there, but as we go on to look at what other Pokemon they lock in, Metagross comes out to play once again. Honestly, on paper, I do feel like this is quite a strong draft that Pickup has really presented themselves. Obviously, keeping in mind that it is Fearless, I think this is a great start. Having the ability to have enough bulk with that Clefable and the Metagross. Obviously, the main damage dealers here is going to be that Mimikyu and Sylveon, whichever moveset they do go into. And I think that going into something like a Blaziken and a Crustle, it is pretty vitally important to have that sustain, because you do not want to be bursted down immediately before the fight has really started there. Delphox coming out. I mean, honestly, to my understanding, Zenith, it seems like the Strugglers are bringing all the stops for this game number 1, because having the damage capability of the Delphox and the CC into something like a Blaziken and a Cerulege with a secure potential and also, I guess, dive ability. I mean, this is looking to be a fiery first match.
It is. But I think it's exactly what you said. The fearless draft factor is going to be super interesting. I think game 2 is going to be the game 2 drafts is going to be super interesting for the team of the Strugglers. But let's see how they unfold and fare in this first game of the semi-final 1 match. The winners again will be playing against Team Vengeance. This is a best of 3, and we are heading in. We do have a change in the item, by the way. Sylveon is running Eject instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be definitely a item to switch out the Goal-Getter, because obviously in ranked pubs it's pretty funny, but in competitive, I guess, games where you really want to, make the most amount of impact on Sylveon, I do think that Eject or X-Speed is probably the better play. As we're heading in, it's going to be interesting, because Beldum is going to go into the central area here, unlike the other games we've seen, and Mimikyu taking that top path.
Yep, we've got the Cerulege with the Eldegoss getting the buffs and levels in. Bottom lane, we have the Delphox and the Crustle contesting for this middle in DDD. And it is going to be, well, I feel like there's going to be quite tough depending on how aggressive and how quickly this tree levels up. Top lane, we've got Torchic and Eldegoss Torchic's getting some stacks in. The Beldum is not just yet ready and will take a bit longer. That's the thing when you have the Beldum in the jungle, right?
It does take a little bit of time, but I'm sure they're going to make it in for that 850. Yet again, I'm curious to see whether they do send this Dwebble up into that top path, potentially to get that 4 gank. The Fennekin does evolve, though, to a Braixen, so that's going to be fantastic for the Strugglers over there, no longer struggling. Cerulege ready to go with that level 5 as well. I'm keen to see whether they do use that Bitter Blade moveset to get that some sort of sustain. Looks like it's going to be a classic 3v3. No, the Crustle is going up as predicted, but a little bit late there for these birds as the Clefable comes in, instantly gets shut down though, so that's going to be a 4v2 yet again. We see that aggression coming in from the Strugglers as they're going to be looking to push this pad. The Basket able to get a Chaos Streak of 2 is going to be fantastic for their work there, as the top path is only going to be on 8. Zenith. So what a fantastic non-struggling start for the Strugglers.
Yeah, and into the jungle they go. It's a triple invade in the jungle here, and they need to sort their team out because this is going to be tricky. Nope, they done well. They did sort them out. All three of them got wiped out.
Yeah, a little bit of a interesting situation there. I think invading after a great gank is a fantastic move, but you don't want to get knocked out and give all the experience back on it, because guess what? There's going to be a level 7 Matang ready to go now for them. And it seems like all that middle birds are just uncontested for Pickup Esports. And they just get all of it, and they're looking to be a very good position right now, even though they were, succumbing to that aggression coming in from the strugglers. So a very interesting play, I think, for both of these teams here for those first 2.5 minutes. As it seems like Kafable is trying to look to put in 20 points against a Blaziken there. A little bit lost, I would have to say. I'm not sure whether that's the best play there, Zenith.
Yeah, I wouldn't push alone when there's a level 8 Blaziken there ready to take me out. But we've got a level 8 on both sides at the moment. Cerulege is closing in as well.
Oh, and look at this, another engage coming out. The Crustal managed to pick off the Matang there, so we're going to have nearly a level 7 Crustal for the strugglers at the moment. And just the story seems to write itself. When you have, I guess, numbers, that's where the power is, right? You're able to just crash onto the enemy, and when they're not online, or when they're, I guess, CC'd with the fire spin from the Delphox, it is just so hard to come back and defend that pad as well. So a fantastic start for the strugglers at the moment. They're going to rip this Reg Ice. It's unlikely the Trevenant's going to be able to do anything at the moment, so it seems like they're going to be choosing the best path to just pivot up top. They're just going to give this basement pad. There's really no point giving any more experience. Better to just help out your teammates in that top path there, as the Blaziken perhaps looking for a secure for them and really making it hard for Pickup Esports. They do! The strugglers are now able to secure both these objectives. Blaziken picks up the Chaos Streak of 3. If we can pan up top, perhaps we can see the fight going through. The Elder Gods does go down to the Sylveon, though, as they get that pick on the Blaziken as well. So I do have to say, I am a fan of Mystical Fire into this comp, but they do have that Hyper Voice for them picked out, and it's doing the job at the moment. I mean, they're highest level in the team at the moment.
Yeah, a bit of a weird unite there from the Delphox. Not too sure if he just needed to get rid of it or just wanted to use it on the farm there. But yeah, they are out of unite at the moment, but they are doing really well. 243 lead against 0, and PCUP really need to do something to bring this control back into the game, I guess.
It definitely seems like the strugglers have just taken the lead in this game and are in the driving seat at the moment. Trevenant just by themselves in the middle, just trying to get some farm, maybe get their unite move at this point. But it just seems like wherever Pickup Esports go, it seems like the strugglers are there with an answer at the moment, as the Mimikyu goes in by themselves. Very questionable unite move as well. Gets shut down immediately by the Fanciful Fireworks, by a huge engage from the Trevenant there, possibly able to pick off some player there, as 4 members of Pickup Esports are now just down out of nowhere. Blaziken gets a 40 score up top. The Hyper Voice Sylveon goes down once again. And just yet again, it's just people on Pickup Esports going down and down and down. We're feeding into the strugglers at the moment. The Delphox is level 12 at the 4-minute 46 mark. I mean, if it's anything, it seems like it's the game for strugglers to lose at the moment. And so I think Pickup Esports need to go farm up. They can't contest if the enemy team is 3 levels higher than you.
No, but even though we can't hear the audio from their side, I can almost tell that their communication on the side of the struggle is just really good. Like, they've played really well as a team, attacked and engaged at the right time with the right number of people, and that's been very, very key so far.
And I mean, speaking of communication, what a great macro rotation coming out from the Cerulege, and also the Crust over there to get 80 down without even, losing anything in return, right? We've got, obviously, the Blaziken to top to try to secure this top path. Even if they lose this, it doesn't really matter because they're so ahead in points. They're able to defend this. Play With Me goes quickly on the Blaziken, but it doesn't actually make any sort of impact because yet again, 3 members of Pickup Esports gets knocked down once again. Very Frolic comes out with the eject move. Is it going to be enough to get the Cerulege? No, it's not. The Regieleki goes in. But that's fine on the side of strugglers, because can anyone actually get to the pad here, Zenith, to actually, I guess, score and, take back some of the lead that the strugglers has been running away with?
Yeah, that is the question, and it's exactly that. They had no real need to get the Regieleki, so they didn't get the Regieleki. Instead, they broke that bottom base, which was a key move in securing this advantage right now. And they're still going to take all the farm on the left-hand side to stifle their opponent's CR. So it looks like a domination up to the 3-minute mark. How can they push this back, we wonder?
I mean, one thing is definitely not take unnecessary fights, which I think could be happening at the moment there. And I think part of it is because the strugglers are just so in your face, right? Pickup esports feels like wherever they go, they're just right there, even in their own central area. And I mean, that's just a great tribute to the aggressive play coming out for the strugglers over here. And like I said, it's really a game for the strugglers to lose at the moment. They have incredible levels in terms of disparity of the team at the moment. Against pickup esports, and so if any of like something like a Delphox goes down or the Cerulege goes down, that is big levels for pickup esports. But I mean, time is ticking. There's 20 seconds left to the Rayquaza fight. This is the best they can bring at the moment for pickup esports for the levels. They have to be okay with this going into this fight. And they gotta check the bushes, it seems, as the Crosso and Eldegoss are in such aggressive positioning.
Yeah, I think that's the highlight right now. They had enough time to secure the best positioning. The Eldegoss and the Crosswell have been here for the last minute. They've been literally scoping out and seeing where the teams are. And look at that, Cerulege is going to score in the home base.
Yeah, a very arrogant score that is indeed, to get that 100 into the home pad there, to really cement the fact that they have almost 500 lead in terms of the scores there. Big Horn Leech though by the Trevenant. Can anyone look at this on the side of Pickup Esports? No. In response, the Phantom Fire goes through. Baits out the Phantom Forest from the Trevenant though. Here comes the Rouser from the Crustal. The Revenant Ren goes through on the Cerulege, able to pick up the Sylveon though. 3 members of Pickup Esports are already down. It looks like it's more to come as another member goes down. Trevenant no longer in the playing field, is up to Clefable with no Unite move and the CC till next week it seems. And yet again, before the Rayquaza can even be done, Zenith, it seems like the strugglers have taken this game number 1.
Yeah, and look, we knew that their comp was very strong from the outset. We knew that they're going to be playing aggressively. I just loved to see that unfold as we expected it to, and that has gone on to a dominating win for the struggle. But it will be interesting to see how the comps line up with this fearless drafts going forward. Let's take a quick look at the statistics here, because I feel like there was some really good play on the side of the struggle. I just want to really see how this looks on paper.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the damage numbers, obviously we don't really see huge 100k kind of damage, but I mean, what we watched was just utter dominance coming out from the strugglers, right? From the get-go, you know, the timing of sending that Crustle up top just to reinforce and get those scores in. For the majority of the game, it was really just the strugglers' game to win, and I think in that Ray fight as well, obviously a little bit of a scramble at points, but the ability to just get that Trevenant out of the playing field as soon as possible, baiting out the Unite move with the Fanciful Fireworks, really just cemented the I guess the ability for them to run at the enemy and deal those massive damage, which is what the team is drafted to do. So it's great to see that's really happening.
Look, we're not going to be seeing a Delphox again from that side. We're not going to see a Blaziken as well. Maybe they might just ban it to stop the other team from getting it as well. But what does Pickup need to do at this point to really gain back some control? Because the way they were playing, not only were they kind of dominating, communication, I feel like was an issue there as well. And I think they kind of found themselves a little bit lost, and we kind of saw that with the Ray fight at the end as well. We had Clefable left by themselves, and the rest of the team with that advantage. They didn't just sit back and say, "Oh, we're gonna let you guys come back." They were ripping Ray before the surrender came in.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the best choice there, right? Or Clefable without its Unite move going into the top side is very unlikely it's gonna be able to touch the Rayquaza to get a secure. But to answer your question, to see what the bans are gonna be, we're gonna quickly look at the I guess the Pokemons that are voted in for both of these teams here. So no Blaziken, no Charizard, and no Trevenant. And it seems like Umbreon sticks into the ban jail, but Slowbro Zenith for the first time is now available for both of these teams.
Can we see a Slowbro? Can we get one for those that are listening into the stream? Let's see a Slowbro. That would be great to see why exactly that it is banned during this time. We have got a Gyarados though as the first pick for this team.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, if you can't play Ceruledge, you can't play your Blaziken, the only other Pokemon it seems like they like to pick in that top path is gonna be that Gyarados. To answer everyone's prayers, Welly picks up the Slowbro, a very smart move, and Harish with a Hooper as well. I mean, this is honestly a great opening for Pickup Esports. I feel like it's a very robust, versatile, duo to really go into a lot of the Pokemons that are picked up by teams at the recent times. And it really, stops the enemy team to know what are your carry mons, right? Until it's a little bit too late. So it seems like Cramorant Blissey going to be picked up for the strugglers there. We got to remember it is going to be Fearless, so we won't be able to see the same Pokemons they play from that last game. And perhaps it's one of the tactics, to save maybe more of their comfort mons in terms of game number 2 to really bring out, and continue that aggression they brought out. So Optic going in from the Ceruledge, Zenith, and Espeon picking up for Aqua there as we head into the game number 2 here.
Yeah, we are going to see a Mamoswine, I hope, as well. The Mamoswine could be really, really useful when dealing with a Hooper and a Slowbro as a frontliners. And we've got Mimikyu as well. We've got some really good damage on the side of Cramorant, Gyarados, and Mimikyu on the side of the struggle. So it does look like a pretty aggressive strategy they might deploy once again. Let's see what the final pick for Pickup Esports is going to be with 3 seconds left on the clock. Machamp.
This is quite interesting here. Obviously, the strugglers are able to play the Mimikyu now, as it was played by Pickup Esports the last game here. I do feel like Mimikyu can go pretty hard into this. I'm not sure why Opti has the leftovers on the Machamp. Is it an accidental? Oh no, they have their correct items. I was getting a little bit scared there. Not sure that it was their pick that maybe they misclicked or something like that. But it's gonna be an energy amped Machamp, which I haven't seen in decades now. It feels like. Really throwback to I guess the strategy of them maybe relying on the Machamp Unite to be a kind of like the initiator or kind of like a finisher in a lot of these fights, perhaps. Ceruledge there able to perhaps target the Cramorant if possible. Honestly, on paper, I feel like the Strugglers has a great front line for that Cramorant to really play alongside with. Meanwhile, it's going to be mostly the Slowbro that's going to be taking in the damage and maybe CCing the enemy from reaching that Espeon there. So Espeon, like we said, it doesn't really provide the same amount of versatility and self-sustain that something like a Sylveon does, but unfortunately they did play that Sylveon in that last match, so we're going to go to their other evolutions at the moment. But, the pressure yet again is on Pickup Esports. They need to show their resilience. They need to come back for a game number 3.
Yeah, you're right. I do worry for this Espeon when you've got the likes of Gyarados and Mimikyu ready to target and pick the kill off there. But we have on the blue side the struggle with the Magikarp going for that top lane with the assistance of Blissey, who will actually start off in the jungle with the Mimikyu. On the other hand, we've got the Ceruledge once again taking the jungle. There hasn't been a lane Ceruledge just yet. The Hooper will assist him for that red buff as well. And the Machop is going to get their early stacks in. And I think it does need to, if we can get a Machamp online really quickly, that could be really useful, especially against some of these mons on the opposing side. The Hooper does come back just to kind of give them a hand. And bottom lane, I do believe we've got the Cramorant, and up against that, Espeon is already online.
On paper, this should be a winning lane for Pickup Esports. They have an A-Press support and a Machamp against a Magikarp. If they do things right, they should get level 5 and get that Machoke online, ready to go. Espeon rotates up as well, something I'd like to see. They need to bring the aggression, because they know that if they don't, the Strugglers will, and it seems like Mimikyu is already in that bush waiting as well. So no level 5 for the Machop there. I'm actually really surprised, as the birds are going to be spawning out. It's going to be a 3v4 scenario. No, a 4v4 perhaps. The submission comes out though to grab that Mimikyu, able to perhaps knock it out. Yes, it does. A fantastic engage for them, and this is what I like to see and what we talked about before, the aggression. They need to make sure that they're in the driver's seat to start this game, because if they can keep that Magikarp from evolving like they are doing now, knocking it out once again, I mean, they're going to have that advantage going into that 7 minutes mark. So yet again, another engagement submission. This Machoke is relentless at the moment as they're just going to dive back onto the pad. They do not want to go down there, though, as we can spectate that Machop possibly. Yes, they do get out of that. I mean, I was scared there, Zenith, because if they were knocked out, that Magic Cup jumps over the waterfall like that. So a very good escape for them at the moment.
They did well to really just extinguish all the farm in that top lane as well. Not only were they pushing the base, they pushed that farm to stop that Magikarp from evolving, and that's really helpful for that Machoke to also level up. The bees are gone, or the Artoris are gone in the middle already, and it looks like a better start from Pickup Esports.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, obviously, the Cerulege is now looking for their level 9 for their Unite move engage. I feel like the Pokemon plays a lot like Scyther, where you're going to be playing around that Unite move to deal that massive damage and maybe clean up a lot of the fights and keeping your levels that way. Gyarados is online now for the Strugglers, though, so they will be struggling a little bit less. And it's going to be a little bit of a scary scenario here. I see 4 members of the Strugglers up in the top path. I don't know whether they actually know at this point. Hooper managed to put on that hyper highway to maybe get that Cerulege there on top, but is it going to be a little bit too late here as the engagement is going to go on onto the pad? Cerulege comes through, possibly picking up that Blissey. Yes, it does. Very healthy at the moment. The Gyarados is so low. I mean, that is going to be a great shout out to the Hooper just to bring that Pokemon up. Because if not, I'm pretty sure that pad goes.
Yeah, that pad would have gone. That pressure was kind of relieved with that Cerulege heading to the top and becoming the hero there. And it did really well there. Now they can rotate back to the bottom and work that bottom objective. It is still pretty close on the point mark right now at this point with 6 minutes left to play. We have 3 bottom lane. The Mamoswine is there waiting to see if he can pick up anything, but it can't. So he just played it quite safe. And they've got the objective top lane, but can they score and head to the next base?
Do break in time, Zenith. So that's going to be a really good start from them. The Machamp pops his Unite move, though. Possibly a Barrage Blow coming out from the top part there. Meanwhile, in the bottom, it seems like the Pickup Esports are relentless trying to score this. Maybe they need to focus on actually knocking out this Piloswine before they score. This seems like a huge waste of time because the Piloswine is being fantastic to just stall this fight out at the bottom. Meanwhile, the rest of the Strugglers is now getting very crucial duns in the top half here. And I think that it was definitely a little bit of a misplay because they stalled for so long that 3 members of Pickup Esports couldn't even back to go to the top path. And guess what, Zenith? The whole top path is now naked for Pickup Esports.
Yeah, so that kind of just changes up the way they can approach this game now with the top objective as well. But I think that Machamp Unite was wasted and he was knocked out by the Blissey. There was just way too much CC for him to handle by himself. But this will definitely divert the way the team plays that top objective now because they need to protect that middle base. And this will give them a lot more freedom on the side of Team Struggle.
God, what a Dragon Current coming out from Gyarados there just to wipe out 3 members with the Cramorant United. Very synergistic in terms of that duo there. So, as a reward, they're going to be able to break that bottom pad. Not by a lot of Overdunk, though, so I'm surprised the Mimikyu actually went for it. Perhaps he's trying to get some attack weight stacks. We have no idea. But just looking at the mini-map at the moment, Zenith, the Strugglers, yet again, so strong coming off this 5-minute mark. And in a really good position for this regulation.
Yeah, let's just say that this Gyarados is online and ready because it is making the difference in the top lane, and it has done. We've got 10 seconds or 8 seconds before both objectives are coming. And this is exactly what I said. Both teams now need to contest that top objective because it can go all the way to the base and give them a huge dominant position before the Ray fight.
Pickup Esports, I want to stall this fight out a little bit, maybe for 30 seconds, so there's not going to be a third one. The Machamp has no chance. Extremely fast knockout by the Strugglers over there, just the Ice Fang into, I guess, the damage dealers of their team. The Slow Beam comes out, the Mammoth runs through. The Cerulege actually gets knocked up through the Unite move as the Cramorant is now sitting there very happily throwing the fish at the enemy team. And, when the dust has all settled, it is still on the side of Strugglers as they're winning this fight at the moment. The Hooper maybe managed to pick out a secure onto, I guess, their own portal, trying to get back into the play. The Psybeam goes, not able to convert against the Gyarados. I'm very surprised there. What a well played by Tush for real, in able to just knock out 2 members and possibly get a third as the Machamp submissions its way back to the home base. I mean, 4 KO streak. You talked about how this Pokemon is online, Zenith. Online, it is indeed.
Yeah, this Machamp has not made the difference I think it was hoping to make during this time, and I think there would have been better choices in the drafts to pick than that Machamp, especially as the final pick. It hasn't done what it needed to do, but they are going to allow the other team to farm up while they deal with that Regieleki, and Team Struggle are in a very good position with 3 minutes left on the clock now, as they have a minute left to ready up for the Ray fight.
Yeah, I mean, one of the points that are, I guess, in the favor of Pickup Esports is that, even though they are a little bit behind, they've got no pads really, apart from the tier 2 of the bottom path there, the overdunks actually coming out from the Strugglers were terrible. So, if they can win this Ray fight, they have so many opportunities to score and take this back. Because the disparity in points is only roughly, 100? So, with 3 pads broken and you're only down by 100, this is honestly not a bad position to be in if you can win that Ray fight. So to win this Ray fight, I mean, it is a very, very tall mountain to climb. It is not, impossible though, because in 15 seconds, we're going to see what Pickup Esports can bring to the table as we head on into the Rayquaza fight.
Yep, Gyarados is just defending that top base as we get ready for this Ray fight. The positioning there is very interesting when you look at the mini-map here.
Absolutely. Machamp in the bush, just waiting for an engage as well. But yet again, the burden is on Pickup Esports to get this Rayquaza or win this team fight. Either or, as we see, a lot of Pickup Esports actually push back into their central area. Seems like they are going to be a little bit scared there. Mimikyu maybe hooks onto the Hooper. Do they go through? No, it's just a little bit of a bait, kind of like fishing for possibly a KO. Another, successful Shadow Sneak. Do they go through? I mean, I don't even know what is going through this Mimikyu's mind at the moment, but it's definitely confidence as they lock onto the Espeon. No, the target is still not looking good for them. I'm surprised Pickup Esports doesn't really jump on this Mimikyu at the moment. They know where they are. The Shadow Sneaks are coming from the same place, Zenith. They need to make a move. I mean, time is ticking. There's only a minute left.
Yeah, well, their Shadow Stinks are still coming in, and they've been getting some good hits as well. The Ceruledge, the Espeon, but there's no engage. There's no kind of synergy to engage right now, but they do need to start working. You've got a minute left on the clock. It's going to be too late soon. Yeah,
50 seconds. Clock is ticking. Does Pickup Esports know they're behind here? Either rip it or make some sort of engagement. Hooper gets locked on by the Mimikyu there as the Mammoth Mask goes through. The Slowbro not able to actually slow beam the Cramorant at all, as the Cramorant is now just picking members of Pickup one by one off. That is 4 members of the Hooper Unite is way too late. It is going to be a team wipe. I mean, a little bit anticlimactic there, because after all that waiting, after all that teasing, Zenith, it seems like the Strugglers was just a little bit too strong.
That's exactly it, and the Strugglers knew exactly what they were doing. I think they played that really, really well. That Gyarados went in and did exactly what it needed to do, and that was amazing final to watch. We have the finals between the Vengeance and the Struggle, which I guess it sets it up quite nicely with the team names, the Vengeance and the Struggle. Shout out to Nuggy, I believe, who has raided us as well. So thank you guys for coming in. We've got a good OCE audience, I believe, right now for Yufu.
This is quite a prime time for a lot of the people that like staying up and playing Unite. So hello everyone from the OC region. Shout out to Nuggy as well. But you guys joined at a fantastic time because we just finished watching the second semi-final for today's warm-up tournament. The grand finals are going to be underway very, very shortly. But just a quick recap about that match. I mean, we talked about how the Strugglers used a lot of the strong Metamons in that first game of this fearless draft over here. But, honestly, the second game seemed a little bit more dominant, Zenith, if I could say so. Obviously, the Mimikyu not managed to pick up in terms of damage. But, in the end, the Gyarados, they lost that top path at the start, obviously to that Machoke, but just came out flying with that 4 KO and get all the levels back there. And, I think at the Ray fight, they were level 14, which is definitely a very, very strong Pokemon to have on your side.
We've got some really good world level players in the worlds coming up as well. So I'm excited to see how the Gyarados is going to be played and protected in the beginning, and then see how it runs rampage, because it ran rampage in that last match, and that was entertaining for everyone to see. We are up with a final match between the Vengeance and the Struggle as well. And I don't know, from having seen both of these matches, I genuinely feel like the favorites are the Struggle. They've gone through the entire bracket really, really well. And they've 2-0'd the semi-finalists as well. So this is going to be very interesting, especially since Vengeance didn't actually, they didn't actually dominate their opponents. They kind of just won the Ray fight in the end. They are pretty good, but are they going to be good enough for the Struggle?
I mean, Vengeance has that second chance, right? They didn't get the title last week. This is their opportunity moment to obviously they're not facing Bad Mash anymore. This is all about, can they take out the Strugglers? And I'm sure they've been watching this game we just cast as Zenith and, making up some sort of strategy to combat what the Struggler has brought to the table here. But just before that, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a note that there is going to be that EU teaser we talked about the tournament starting next week, if I'm correct, Zenith, as we're going to have a look at the teaser trailer for the EU Weekly.
So for the guys that have just watched this, the Engage Weeklies will be running every Friday, hosted by Spartan Tano on Engage GG. We've got a new platform started through. We've got the app coming out next week as well. So whether you're on an iPhone or whether you're on an Android phone as well, you can download the Engage app. You can literally set your profile up, start working on your portfolio as a caster foo, or if you're a player, you can set yourself up that way as well, take part in the tournaments. We've got a lot planned with Engage. Our vision is very long lasting, and I'm super excited to talk about this app that we've been working on for the last 6-7 months, I believe. So Engage Weekly is just going to be a part of it, and we're going to have a few more competitions. Look, Foo, we've got a big Australian audience right now. With Australia right now, I'm looking to get involved with events. What do you think, or what format do you think works really well for OCE?
I mean, I think OCE is receptive to a lot of formats. I think it really depends on what is exciting at that moment in time in terms of what Pokemons are that players like to play, and maybe getting something in terms of an involvement into that. Maybe something a little bit different to the standard draft, right? We saw Fearless draft for the India League at the moment. Maybe something similar that the OC Unite scene has not seen yet. I mean, we see a lot of these regions have such different grassroots tournaments. We saw the Unity Clash that features a lot of these major teams, trying a bunch of different drafts as well. Maybe getting inspiration from some of these drafts could really inspire the changes you make for any tournaments you want to host in the OC scene. But, yet again, I'm happy to help out once we get closer to that. But it sounds like the app is going to pop off with these EU weeklies. That's going to be a part of it.
Yep. So For those that have an iPhone, you can get it on the App Store possibly by next week. And it's the same for the Google Play Store as well. It's looking good. I still call it a ugly baby version of the app, but we will grow and nurture it with the support of everyone here as well. We are literally going to be looking at starting the grand finals, though. We've got Vengeance versus the Struggle. What is it that you're looking forward to seeing in this matchup?
I want to see both teams send up maybe 4 players if they've seen, what each team has been doing. Because correct me if I'm wrong, both Vengeance and also your Strugglers have utilized this to a lot of, I guess they get a lot of rewards from that play. It seems like the enemy team are always caught off guard by this strategy here. But when you have 2 teams that are having the same mindset to get that 4-member gank onto top half for those 850 birds, I feel like that's going to be a show to set off with. And whoever wins that engagement, Zenith, I think really gets that driver's seat for the rest of the game.
The difference that I've noticed is that even though both teams applied the top lane push, I think it was the Struggle actually did something with it in that second game. They actually pushed it into that second tier and had a huge kind of positional advantage for the rest of the game. Like you've set yourself up for the rest of the game if you can knock out that tier 2 goal in that top lane. And they've done that. And here we are with the drafting of the finals for today. Blaziken.
I mean, not surprised, are we? In a fearless draft, we can only play one Pokemon. You do not want to send one of the best Pokemons to be able to be selected by the enemy team, especially in this game number 1, which I think both these teams are really just still testing out the waters. They do have that best of 3 opportunity to kind of suss out, what his team is going to be playing and what they like to play. We do see a Charizard getting banned as well, and that's Slowbro Zenith. We saw it only come out of the jail once. It gets locked back in immediately, as will the Cerulege as well.
That's the issue there. We had Cerulege as well being banned off. A little bit of a glitch there. I thought someone was picking Comfy there for a second.
I think they were just hovering over it. But we can see Yoji maybe looking to prioritize a defender for them. No, it's going to be Tush right away with the Gyarados that we saw last game. So maybe perhaps they have a similar draft idea going into it. Obviously, we saw that was game number 2 for them, but this is going to be game number 1. So I'm keen to see how Vengeance responds to this pick.
Yep, I'm keen to see how Zoltan plays. The Gyarados has been taken away, the Blaziken's been taken away, the Cerulege has been taken away. What is Zoltan going to play from the all-rounders? Is it going to be a Mimikyu? We've got a Tree and a Blissey being picked on the side of Vengeance right now, and Struggle needs a defender. Are they going to pick the Mamo or the Umbreon? Umbreon is still there, unpicked.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really opened up the opportunity for Nav to pick up the Umbreon, but they have chosen the tree against it, which means Yoji can actually take this Umbreon as well as another evolution. Beast Slay is going to go on that Sylveon as well. So, on paper, it's going to be a really good opening for the Strugglers here. Definitely very versatile and very flexible. And really, I guess, they can kind of adjust to see what the carries of Vengeance are going to bring. And it seems like Ayushi is going to hover over the Comfy once more, perhaps locking in. No, they bait us all here, Zenith, as they pick the Chandelure, which is kind of an interesting pick. We'll get to that in a second, but it seems like B2K is going to lock in that Leafeon as well.
Yeah, I think we might be seeing a Metagross or I don't think we're going to see a Mimikyu, but we might see a Metagross from Zoltan as the final pick because, we don't need to. We've got Zoroark on the one hand as well. This is going to be super interesting. Zoroark, Eldegoss on the side of the Struggle with a Chandelure. And I've been a big fan of Chandelure recently. I think it's done really well with its buffs and the damage is just heaped. We've got an Urshifu as well, which has risen from the ashes in the recent meta. What's your take on the Urshifu?
Yeah, it definitely has. And I think on paper, obviously, this is a Zoroark without a Comfy, so the healing factor is all going to be on how good One Trick is going to be able to throw those Pollen Puffs and Cotton Guards onto it as they go in for that dive engage there. Seems like it's going to be a Water Bear coming out from the Ayush over here with a full heal and the item set they have on. which I think is going to be a decent pick, I think, into the strugglers here, as well as the burst damage potential coming out from Leafeon as well. Honestly, I am not the biggest fan of this Chandelure pick. The fact that there is the possibility of a Gyarados, a Umbreon, and also a Zoroark that could be just running at you, right? You're going to be possibly one of the main targets if they can get through the front line here. So I think the task is really on Nav, on the Trevenant, to displace and isolate any incoming diving, such as the Gyarados or the Zoroark, for the Urshifu to dispose of. And obviously the Leafeon is going to be in turn looking to deal that damage with its Unite move and possibly wipe out some of the annoying Pokemon such as that Sylveon on the side of the strugglers.
Yeah, let's see if that Chandelure can be used as bait for the Leafeon to pick up kills as well, because you are absolutely correct. There's so much dive potential on the other team to really work that Chandelure, but it could also be quite useful for them if they take advantage. We've got 3 in the jungle here trying to get the levels up, and we've got the Tree and the Kupfu in the jungle on the opposing side with Chandelure by themselves, I believe, in that bottom lane as well. Let's see how this early game unfolds, because the levels are going to be crucial in the first match of the finals for the AEOS League.
And obviously this Eevee wants to evolve so badly so that it can out-secure the enemy team and really just get the ball rolling for them. The Gossifer is obviously looking to maybe steal and get some sort of a miracle turn of events, but the Leafeon will come online as expected, and this Magikarp needs as much help as possible at the moment. Lickwick obviously going up against this Hyper Voice Sylveon. A lot of Hyper Voice today, not any Mystical Fire, which I am quite surprised. It seems like the teams obviously are pivoting towards that moveset in this region. Water Bear coming online is going to be quite interesting, going up against this Zoroark. And look at this, Umbreon coming up, but no one on Vengeance. It is going to be a 4v3 yet again. I mean, it's just every single game, it seems like one team has their idea and the other team doesn't, and I'm not sure whether the Umbreon can actually prevent any, the Trevenant can actually prevent any scores over here coming through from the strugglers. And if the Zoroark goes through the central area, this is going to be a fantastic lead and segue into getting that level 6 and 7. They're going to go for some attack weight stacks, obviously, which is going to be quite important. But if they do look at securing one of these farm, this is going to be very, very bad for Vengeance over here, as they're going to be looking at the blue buff that's possibly going to be spawning.
Yeah, this is really tough right now for Vengeance to deal with, because we've had a Zoroark ripping through jungle, which is never a nice thing. It was really interesting to see that Urshifu, it was a Kupfu at level 5 for a while before it actually selected which evolution it wanted to go ahead with. But here we will be seeing a bottom lane push from the struggle, and can this Urshifu actually do enough to defend it? Leafeon has joined them there, and we are going to see a counter push here.
Definitely a little bit of an engagement as the Zoroark comes back to just feint across and knock out that Urshifu. The Phantom is now going in and trying to get that level 5, possibly going to the central area. I'm not too sure what their plan is. They're still a little bit shy of that Trevenant evolution, as Blissey is going to 1v1 the Gyarados seems to grab any sort of experience possible, as the teammates are now just falling down towards the bottom path there against that Zoroark. I mean, Zoroark has been seen to be so strong, right? And so popular in a lot of these teams, but, you know, recently with the Urshifu buffs and the Charizard buffs, and obviously some of the other all-rounders such as Cerulege coming to play, we don't see it as often in this region from what I've seen, but having the fact that it is level 9 now at the 7-minute mark, a Zenith definitely pays tribute to how strong this Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a struggle. This is a overheat Chandelure as well that's being played here, but it is looking very threatening from the Zoroark right now with its level 9 and contesting that bottom. But you know what? I'm more worried about that Gyarados in that top lane. He is bullying that Blissey. In fact, the Blissey is running to bottom lane now to get away from them, and it is going to the side of the struggle for this first objective.
Yeah, scary there as the Zoroark gets knocked out by the Leafeon, but somehow, you know, the 7 able to just get that basement Reggie for them, so a relief, and they have the points lead, they have the level lead as well. The Gyarados getting the Regieleki, I mean, this is a great start for them indeed. And I just want to quickly point out about the the Umbreon move selection choice as well. I feel like the Snell and Foul Play is great into that Water Shifu, because if you can stun the Water Shifu for periods of time, it doesn't get that healing factor that it does from that Surging Strike. So a very masterful choice by the Umbreon there for sure.
Yep, and Zoroarks, they're picking up a lot more loose kills there. They are going to break it with an overdone 27 here as they start working their way through the bottom base. Yep, they're working that tier 2, and this is going to be such an interesting push here. A good engagement. They are still getting in points there. If there is any stacks left, it probably would have been done during this attack here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a trickling situation coming in from Vengeance there. I really don't like them just feeding levels now. Yet again, I think a lot of the pattern we're seeing in a lot of these team fights is that they try to contest something like a 2v3 or a 3v4 when they're low levels like this, and suddenly it seems like another engagement goes through. Leafeon Unite 2 steps just gets wiped, I think. Oh no, they do manage to pick off at least one player there, so just trying to run off with that minimum HP. The Zoroark Unite comes through. The Blissey very low at the moment. The Elder Gods gets a Chaos Trick of 2 though, so the Strugglers yet again picking off enemy teams one by one, winning those team fights as the Zoroark potentially falls to the Chandelure. No, it does fall to the Urshifu, giving away a level 12 here. So I was just saying how well the Strugglers actually came out of that fight, just for them to go back in and then feed the levels back. I'm not too sure whether that was the best play there, Zenith.
But that's what happens when you have Zoroark players on your team as well, because you have this level of confidence, right? And that could be quite dangerous. In this case, it was.
I mean, not every Zoroark has a comfy attached to them, so definitely a little bit of a risk-taking move there for sure. I mean, it's not too bad though, but the levels do look a little bit better now for Vengeance, and I think that's maybe the opportunity for them to really get the ball rolling from this. Bit of a scattered situation from both of these teams here. I feel like more of Vengeance are looking to secure this basement Reggie. The Umbreon is going to be doing a very good job of getting vision and also delaying any scores that are going to be coming through, because this means that, you know, the rest of Team Strugglers can actually make their way down. They're not going to be able to push this regular team anyway. They might as well just come and get some picks off at the bottom, because now they will have that both the level and numbers advantage going into this fight, as the Zoroark is just diving into the backline, taking out the Chandelure, doing what it's supposed to do as one of the main divers of their team, and really just pushing Vengeance out of this Reggie steal.
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes left on the clock, and we still have an advantage state for Team Struggle. And this Zoroark is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Can the tree steal it? No, it doesn't. And they do make out of that object. That was very close.
Yeah, that was incredibly close. And yet again, the other two members of Vengeance now just running in and just giving away levels to the Zoroark once again. There's yet again a disconnect, right, in terms of either communication or strategy over here. The Trevenant jumps on behind. Maybe a big Horn Leech available for them. Zoroark gets stunned, but yet again, just no backup from the rest of the team, unfortunately. As the Chandelure is looking to stop the Gyarados, but it's just not fast enough. I mean, it's just a series of unfortunate events here. They're letting in scores. They're losing some of the 1v1 fights. And, you know, approaching the Rayquaza fight here, Zenith, we have all pads up for the Strugglers. Only 2 pads for the Vengeance. And almost, more than 300 points differing both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a dominant play from their previous opponents who dominated them throughout the whole match and then just lost it in the Ray fight. But the thing about the Struggle is they do really good at Ray fights. From what we've seen, they are really good at Ray fights. They are patient. You know, we saw a Shadow Sneak in Mimikyu that wasn't really going in. But here we go, Fu. We've got an engagement for the Ray fight now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough for a level 10 Trevenant to really sustain themselves in this fight. The Strugglers have done a very good job of just making sure that they do not get a lot of levels. The entire team of Vengeance is now just pushed away into the central area of their side, with the Zoroark going in for a possible backup up top. I mean, there's just so much map control coming out from the Strugglers. I don't really see them actually engaging anybody here. But as I say this, the Blister system goes to the Urshifu. As it starts to pop off, the Emerald 2-step of the Leafeon has been used already. The Dragon Current not managed to pick off anybody at the moment, but Silver goes down on the Strugglers. That is going to be a 1v1 there for the Gyarados. No, it's going to be a 4v1 as they get knocked out. I mean, we talked about perhaps Vengeance's ability to get the game back from the Rayquaza fight, but the Zoroark is there to say, I heard what you said. No, not on my watch, as they're going to be zapping through with a Chaos Trigger 3 to knock out Urshifu. I mean, it is going to be a very, very crazy miracle if the Trevor and Blissey can somehow get this Rayquaza, but it seems like the Strugglers, no, they don't need to get this Rayquaza. They have over 400 points in the lead. It doesn't matter if Nav scores here. As long as they can stall it out for 40 more seconds, they're going to be able to win this game.
Don't lose the Ray now, though. And they didn't. That was a very, very confident, dominant position. That game was played in their jungle. I think the other team are going to be surrendering because they are not moving as healthy as you want them to be moving. But that was a good dominant first game. We are going to be heading in to the second game in the next 20 seconds. But this was a good fashioned final from the Strugglers. And there's a lot of improvements that Vengeance needs to make if they want to stake a claim in the next match.
Yeah, I do have to say, though, the Rayquaza rip was quite interesting. I think, if anything, it opened up an opportunity for Vengeance to get the steal there as the teammates are coming back. So,
yeah,
in terms of risk, it seemed like I feel like they just did it because they knew they could. But, you know, in the small unlikely chance that Vengeance actually takes that, there's a good chance that perhaps they're going to be able to get some scores in. But, you know, yet again, they are 400 points up. So the chance that all 5 members of Vengeance get to score is quite minimum. So they did, I guess, think about the probability and went for it. But yet again, Zola, 104,000 damage there, doing nearly 30% of the team's damage there, Zenith.
Yeah, that was some really good Zoroark play in the end. They had one little mishap in the middle of the match, but over 100k damage, over 14k kills, and over 500 points from the team of the Struggle. And I think every player did a part that was really good as well. Sylveon did really well. The Eldegoss did really well. And of course, the Gyarados and the Zoroark especially did really well to secure that win in the finals. And on the other side, we do need to kind of change it up a little bit. I just think that they need to be a little bit smarter with the team.
I think I've lost Zen here. So I'll keep it going as we try to get him back. But as Zenith was saying, Zenith, welcome back. Yeah, sorry, as you were saying.
Yeah, I was just saying, I wanted to see how that communication was during that final Ray fight. We had like the whole team in that bottom bush in their own jungle thinking about what the heck is going to be happening next and how to kind of approach this Ray fight because they need the Ray, but the opponents are just camping in their own bushes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. And I think that's something that really great teams know how to do. They know how to take a positioning in a way that it feels almost dangerous to go through and access your areas of the map to get into the Rayquaza. And if you do and make a misstep, you could just be either CC'd by the Umbreon or the Sylveon rips you through down. You saw the majority of the fight actually wasn't even in the Rayquaza pit. It was in the bottom where the Reggie spawn. And that's just another great way that you can push teams out of the Rayquaza pit. Even if you lose kind of like 1 or 2 members in that positioning, it takes a long time for the enemy team to actually go back into the Ray pit if they want to look for something like a rip of the Rayquaza, and that gives valuable time on your side to get your teammates back if they're being knocked out and stuff like that. But in that case, it didn't even matter because the Zora came up cleaned up with a 3 KO. And unfortunately, for me, I feel like Zoltan on the Leafeon, it didn't really do as much as what it wanted to do, especially in that early game, because it really gave the opportunity for Gyarados and Zoroark to just run through the enemy team. But game number 2 here, Zenith. Let's see what they're going to be banning.
Yeah, for those that have just tuned in, it can still go either way because this is a fearless draft rule sets, meaning they cannot use the same Pokemon again as well. But they have gone with an Umbreon and a Gyarados ban to start with. Let's see how... Yep, here we go. Another buddy of ours, Slowbro, is being banned once again.
Yeah, once again. So Umbreon obviously taken out here. They don't want to see it anymore. Charizard taken out as well. So the Pokemon I'm thinking that are up to play is, obviously the Cerulege, and also that Blaziken as well, which, as predicted, Ayushi is going to quickly prioritize for the team. I mean, it is going to be a very smart choice if things come to it in terms of a Ray flip. You know, if you have the Blaziken, it definitely gives you a little bit of confidence to win that flip there. And then, you know, not surprisingly, in response, Tush goes in for the Ceruledge. They did their job on Gyarados. They prevented the enemy team to play Gyarados this game. So very, very smart move by them. And it seems like Yoji's going to lock back onto the Trevenant here.
Yeah, this is going to be super interesting. That Blaziken just brings in a whole level of versatility that is really useful in games like this and makes it a very dangerous first pick to contest against as well. On the other hand, having that Ceruledge, it's been doing so well in the meta right now, and Tush has been playing a really good game as well. So we'll see how he fares with that. The tree is going to be picked up and the Crustle is going to be picked up. On the other hand, I do want to see what Zoltan ends up playing as well, as I believe he'll swap that across. We have the Cramorant and the Blissey, I believe, that are coming in. So we've got the pink supports ready from either side of the team. There's a lot of good firepower on the side of the struggle, so it'd be very interesting to see what they pick as their last main attacking force as well. Are we seeing a Pikachu?
Oh, perhaps. I mean, we haven't seen the yellow mouse Pokemon all day today. Perhaps B2K, I guess, entertains us with this idea. Venusaur obviously hovered for them as well. So if Pikachu does get locked in here, Zenith. So I guess this is going to be I'm just trying to take into this draft at the moment what their idea or what their strategy is going into this game number 2. They know this is, you know, probably the most important game they're going to be playing today, because they don't want to come second again 2 weeks in a row, right? They want to take back and show everyone in this warm-up tournament that they have what it takes to take out the title. Venusaur coming in through. I mean, I see, you know, obviously the front line from the Crustle, the Pikachu stuns into something like a Venu Beam. And obviously, the if thing gets bad, you've got the Beam and the Overheat from the Blaziken to secure, right? Meanwhile, we have the Hyper Beam obviously locked in. I think that's an incredibly smart move. They know they're kind of lacking kind of that secure with Tush on the Ceruledge and Beast Slayer on the Cramorant. So if things get bad, they've got that against the Solar Beam and Blaziken. I mean, on paper, honestly, both teams have a lot of potential to pull something like a team wipe off. But I do want to see them yet again be aggressive. And, you know, for once, send someone from bot lane up, you know, from both of these teams. I want to see a 4v4 for that 850 birds.
Yep, it's the new first fight, which is that top lane, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I assume we're going to be seeing Zoltan and the Venusaur in the jungle, and on the other hand, I'm thinking we'll see that Dragonite with Ceruledge taking that top lane, since he's been playing top lane the last 2 matches as well, the last 3 matches.
So Blissey, obviously, or Chansey rather, helping out this Dratini with the jungle just to make sure that it clears it faster. Remember, they need that level 8 before they hit that Dragonite. Meanwhile, you know, the Torchic needs that level, I guess, with a 5, you get the dash, and then once you have your 8, then you have access to all your other moves as well. So, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a slow start, I would have to say, before both mons get evolved here. Torchic running in to potentially get a stack. No, turns around for some reason there. Cramorant looking to just get this Phantom out of the way. Obviously, levels are quite important in this bottom path as well, but they do have very fast and bursty damage moves in terms of, I guess, in comparison to the jungle Pokemon, right? You know, the Cramorant and the Pikachu able to do a lot of bursts and trap the opponents with its starting moves. So not a lot of happening at the moment, which is, you know, what we anticipated. Pikachu coming up. Do we see something coming out from the strugglers here, Zenith? I don't think we will, as the birds are going to be spawning here, and a lot of the experience is going to go on that Sharda kit and possibly a Ceruledge very soon.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where those top lane 4 people top didn't really work out, right? Pikachu is there, but with nothing to do much. Cramorant is going to be doing a jungle invade, though.
And I mean, this is a great opportunity for them, right? To just get some extra levels as the Trevenant is just coming online in that bottom path there. We have a 4v1 here, and unfortunately, the Ceruledge probably has to just let it go because, you know, if they do lose that, that gives the Combusken a little bit more levels, and that's really not what we want if you're on the side of Vengeance here. So Ivysaur really walking to the wrong path over there, gets Hurricane immediately, but somehow possibly the Pikachu to convert that with the Combusken there with its Electro Web ready to go. bit of blade coming out from the Ledge just to fend off any enemies as we come into this central area for those 8-minute birds. A little bit of an engagement possible as we're going to pan to the bottom path here. A defender against defender fight at the moment for this one. Indeedy, I mean, as we are probably going to be prioritizing the carry mons for the levels, you know, it does seem like on the side of strugglers at the moment.
I was going to say that it would have been a successful invade if that Venusaur didn't become a Venusaur during this jungle rotation, but it did. So they are looking primed and ready. Blaziken and a Venusaur both ready to take on this first objective in 20 seconds.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's going to be a 3v2 up top. Meanwhile, the Cramorant and the Trevenant just fending off a Pikachu. I don't really see this Cramorant having any trouble against the Pikachu in the bottom path, and I think it does a really smart thing to do just to try to get its Unite move now. Having said that, it's already level 8, and having its Unite move ready to go for the next fight is going to be so crucial and so, I guess, pivotal in terms of trying to win that fight. Hyper Beam goes off to just chunk out Blaziken, but I guess the Venusaur is there just to back him up. Blaziken does go down to the Cram though, so Cram has its Unite move, pops it immediately to knock out the Venusaur as well. We talked about how useful the Unite move is, how much damage it does. With a KO streak of 3, I mean, this is just a hard ass for this Pikachu at the moment. I think they should really just let it go instead of trying to attempt to 1v1 this Cramorant, which is getting low, don't forget, and it really sets up the KO for the Blaziken though, so I will eat my own words there as they're going to look for defending this Regieleki.
Yep, that's Cerulege used that Chaos to get some stacks in. I think they will be okay to defend this one as the teams rotate to the bottom lane for the basement Reggie objective, which the defenders have been, well, keeping warm, I guess.
Yeah, they've just been having their own little party at the bottom. I'm surprised Vengeance didn't actually just take that basement Reggie as they were fighting up top, but because obviously they were late to both objectives, it seems. And, you know, this really gives the strugglers an opportunity to make a comeback for the bottom objective as well, having converted the top one as well. So Blazing goes down to Cerulege. I mean, this is a kind of a top lane priority to the max at the moment, as the Cerulege is just relentless up top, trying to KO this Clefable and possibly get in a little bit more stacks as well. The Blissey almost taking to level 9, hopefully in the next minute or so, if they can get a KO. We do see on the map that Venusaur has taken that basement Reggie for them, for Vengeance. So, you know what? Level-wise, it is not looking too bad. Obviously, there's a little bit more level 10s on the side of strugglers, but with these points coming in, we do have a level 10 Venu as well. Oh, we seem to have lost Zenith once again, so we'll continue this as the Bliss Assistance goes on to the Cramorant. But, you know, obviously popping its Unite moves, able to defend this pad, ladies and gentlemen. The Clefable kind of caught off guard here. The Blissey able to secure that KO to I guess, establish they are the better support player. The Cerulege does go down to the Blaziken, though, as the Phantom Forest 160, or 180 rather, comes along and stops any form of engage coming out from the Blaziken. A little bit of a tense fight at the bottom, but, you know, when the dust is all settled, both of these pads are still up for both of these teams. So, only 2 points, you know, are in disparity between both of these teams at the moment. So, it does seem like we have a show on the road because levels are coming back up for both of these teams. I'm getting very excited at the fact that we're going to have a close game for this game number 2.
Yep, we've left the defenders there at the bottom once again to babysit that base while everyone else is rotated top with this Regieleki. He's going to get secured by the Venusaur, and it did well with its Solar Beam, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing as a recurring theme during this match. But, you know, look, the struggle still have a really good... Wow, there's a good Unite there coming in. Can they defend this Regieleki? Looks like...
Sorry, you go. Well, regardless, it goes, as you're saying, can they defend? The Cramorant Unite goes through, though, to see maybe they can do some damage and knock out this Blaziken, but the Blaziken at level 12 is going to have that sustained potential to knock it out. But either way, it does manage to go in with a 50. I think it was able to score before that pad went down. So I guess a very good, I think 34 overdown for them, and that pushes them in the lead here, Zenith.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking like they are working on a comeback at this point, and they do need it to take it to a game 3 situation right now. They are going to be working this bottom lane objective. They've got the secure in their hands with Overheat and a Solar Beam, which should be coming out right about now, and they do well to secure that. And it's quite well, all the attempts have been quite futile from the struggle right now. Are they going to be able to hold their nerve against this onslaught right now with 5 people bottom? And we've got Cerulean dropping 47 into that top base.
Going to be an interesting fight here. Pikachu Unite goes off to just knock out the Trevenant, and I think the Strugglers should just really give this pad away. They've really given some levels out of this situation. The Dragonite goes in, and what a perfectly placed Thunderbolt Thunder combo from Pikachu to be able to knock it out as well. I mean, if anything, you know, what we talked about, how the levels are going back on the side of Vengeance, it really has coming on with those KOs as well. Blaziken is now very, very big and able to knock it out Ceruledge. It is level 14 at the moment. Are doing a fantastic job to come back into this game. They are in the lead. This is a great position for Vengeance to be in, right? I mean, after, you know, that first game where they were behind the entire game and just got really dominated throughout the 10 minutes, this really gives them an opportunity to, like you said, take this game and take it to a game 3 scenario.
Yeah, this is the closest they are going to be getting. They have a lead, and they have got the level advantage, and they got the Regieleki, and they're going in right now, Fu.
I mean, the Crustle getting isolated and immediately picked off, so it's going to be a 5v4 to start this match off. Regieleki does go in, but I'm thinking most teammates are going to be looking at this Rayquaza as this Dragonite just ripping without any notice at the moment. Pikachu running at it. Remember, Dragonite cannot secure from top lane. They have to go from this bottom side, but it doesn't even have the beam to go through. As the Clefable is able to secure it for them. I mean, one of the insurance policies like we talk about that Hyper Beam provides for the Strugglers is just completely pushed out of the pit there. And, you know, if anything, this is fantastic momentum for Vengeance as they take this game number 2.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing a game number 3. Vengeance did really well. I think that latter 4 minutes of the game was all Vengeance. With the positional play, with the domination, with the team fights, they did really, really well to claw back at this point. And it's going to be super interesting because not only is it best of 3s and we've got the finals of the final match, but we've also got a limited pool of Pokemon from the large pool of roster of Pokemon that we have to pick from at this point, and we cannot be seeing certain ones being used again.
And I would say, you know, we questioned the Pikachu pick there, but it was, you know, honestly used to perfection, able to just make it, like, I guess the placement of its moves was just so crucial and so game-changing in terms of getting those picks on both the Dragonite and also, you know, the Trevenant or any of the Pokemons that could push their team away from it. And in the end of the day, right, having, you know, the Blaziken getting that level 14, going into that Ray fight, obviously, they lost that Crustle, which was, you know, they gave a bit of vision. I don't think the Crustle was able to pop its Unite move in time. It was a 4v5 scenario. There was that opportunity for the Dragonite to just rip the Rayquaza, which is, I think, the strategy they want to go through. But then none of the team actually protected the Dragonite from any sort of Pokemon running at it. And in the end, it was a Pikachu that zoned out a Dragonite from the pit. I mean, that is quite unheard of. And having the Hyper Beam that is supposed to be one of your best securers on your team, not even be able to reach that Rayquaza, I mean, that just it just means game over, right? Because what you're looking at the other side is a Blaziken and obviously the Clefable that secured it at the end. And, you know, I mean, it's just a perfectly well-played Rayquaza fight for them.
Yeah, you've got the Blaziken with its overheat, you've got the Venusaur, and you've got the Pikachu on that side that can all take the Ray, and it did eventually. And on the other side, I'm thinking, I know the Dragonite's going for the Ray, but is anyone going to focus on the other two securing Pokemon? Like, can they focus on those while the Dragonite does its work? And like you said, it wasn't defended well enough, and they were made to pay for that Ray fight. But we do have a game 3 on our hands. This has gone down to the wire. It can go any way. It looks like Team Struggle are actually the dominant team, or the team that have performed well throughout the tournament, but anything can happen in these 10 minutes that we're going to be facing up as well.
Definitely. I mean, this game is so volatile, right? If you make one mistake, like they did in that game, I mean, the whole game is now in your hands to win. And I think just something for every team that we've spectated today, there've always just been fights where, in my opinion, have just been a little bit unnecessary. Obviously, each region plays differently, and the way that teams approach other teams are, I guess, different and distinct from the way that, some of the other regions teams play. But I think a lot of the fights here, it just seemed like there's so much wild Pokemon on your side. If you just go and capture some of these, you will get the levels that is pretty much risk-free, right? Rather than trying to get levels off knocking out other opponents. But, it makes for good show for us because we want to see our players clash into each other to see which team comes out on top in some of these engagements. But looking at the bans here, Zenith, take us through what has been taken into the banjo.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, once again, we have the Slowbro, and this time we have the Blaziken being banned. So, to avoid the opponents from using it, even though they might have the scope in the Fearless Draft, we are seeing a Charizard being picked up by Zula as well, which is going to be super interesting. He's had a good run in this tournament so far, but let's see how they combat this because we need some defenders in the roster, and it looks like somebody's gonna pick the tree. No, is it gonna be a Snorlax over the tree at this point? It's a good. Wow, it is. Yeah, a Snorlax and a Hoopa being picked up by the team of Vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, Snorlax is a great Pokemon to pick into Hoopa, to stop some of the teleportation that Hoopa provides, and maybe that's why Nav picked it up to make sure that the enemy can't pick up Snorlax as a counter there. That means that Yoji is going to lock in that Crustle, which we're seeing today, as well as one trick. Just thinking about the Clefable pick there, they do have other support players, or Pokemon rather, available to them, but it seems like they do like that kind of that trinity yet again, right? That we've seen the Charizard, the Clefable, the Crustle, to just have a sustained bubble, right? That it's very hard to penetrate for Vengeance here. And in response, P or B2K has locked in that Delphox.
Yeah, I think both teams have used Tree, hence why it hasn't actually been able to be selected. But we're seeing a Talonflame. This is going to be super interesting to watch as well. And you mentioned the regional differences. Some regions do love to play the Talonflame, and some regions actually try and avoid it as well. And we've got a Mew for the first time too. This is going to be super interesting.
And the Talonflame pick makes me think that perhaps we can see a Trick Hooper come out, Zenith. It's not very uncommon. Trick Hooper provides something like a Talonflame, the ability to actually teleport back to the previous location, which means this Talonflame has no problem of just using all its abilities and then having that safe Phantom Force to get back in through that trick portal as well. I do want to see that come out because I think that's going to be really, really good, and I don't think the Mew is going to be really able to stop and engage like this. A Mimikyu getting picked in the Clefable is very, very interesting. It makes me suspect that it could be a Shadow Claw Mimikyu because I feel like Play Rough is going to be quite terrible. You're not going to be able to use it for one in Gravity, and secondly, you're going to be able to get trapped by Crustle quite easily as well, and not able to have that sustain that Shadow Claw provides. And Dodrio for the first time, Zenith. What do you think about that pick? Oh, it seems like we've lost Zenith once again. So, unfortunately, guys, you're going to be able to think about... Oh, there we go. Zenith.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think because it's the final game in this Fearless Draft, we are going to be seeing some new strategies and new mons being picked as well. And Dodrio is always a fun character because it can go really, really well, or it can kind of fade away and get punished quite easily as well. But we've got Tush on the Dodrio as well. So let's see how he plays this one, because he has played masterfully in some of the other mons he's picked earlier, like the Zoroark or the not the Zoroark, the Gyarados as well. And on the other side, it's going to be an interesting Mimikyu selection here with, if you are saying it might go Shadow Claw, which might work out better, then I know one Australian that would be very happy with that by the name of Lobo.
I mean, Lobo definitely likes the Mimikyu, and we've seen plenty today, and plenty in the top path as well. So, very classic bot path here with the Mew and the Dwebble going in. I do see a Snorlax going into this enemy central area, so maybe we can pan up top and see a little bit of an invade coming in from a Snorlax as they're going to contest that against that Charmander, and Doduo obviously getting some stacks in the top path as well. So they're not successful in getting that buff. However, they are going to be a pest in that jungle. Obviously, Charmander requires all the help it can get at the moment because Snorlax Tackle does a whole lot of damage to a little baby dragon.
It's an amazing secure. I think it did take the blue buff, and the Charmander's taken the red at this point.
Yeah, I
Do
think
you-
it has. Yes, it has. Sorry, it's just a bit hard with the panic at the moment there, and I'm surprised that it didn't actually go up top to go for another four-man gang. It's actually going to head up bottom possibly to just get some securers and maybe help this little Fennekin that still needs to come online. It is definitely a tough bottom path there for the Fennekin against the Mew, but we're going to see this 850 engage here as the Shadow Claw is going to come out as we predicted, and obviously just both teams backing away at the moment. No one really sees a possible, I guess, engage option for them. Mimikyu looking for that level 7 as usual. And possibly, yep, level 5 here. Oh, sorry, I don't think it picked Shadow Claw at the moment. It actually goes for the play rough. I got confused with the auto attack. So that's very interesting that they've actually picked play rough into Clefable, Zenith. I really don't know whether that's the best pick here.
Yeah, we'll see how it unfolds. I can imagine it on the Dodrio, but yeah, they just need to kind of play this correctly as well. Bottom lane's looking looking very secure with this Mew just whirling around with all its tricks right now, and the Hooper is going to be super useful at this point right now.
Yeah, definitely a lane 1 for them. I mean, Mew is 2 levels higher than the opposing counterpart at the moment. And obviously, having that level 8 is going to be very, very good for any sort of objective secure, able to just be invincible for the entire period of your Unite move. So that's definitely a good start for Beast Slay on that team, as the Dojo is having a little bit of trouble with that Mimikyu that we talked about, but it does go and knock them out though, so fantastic work from that Dojo. Gets converted with the Talonflame over there, so levels will go back to another bird of choice, as we see a Snorlax doing a 360 to just dance around and ankle break the Crossel there. That was quite amusing. And yet again, we have more beams coming out from the Mew, and I think this Brexton's really struggling to secure any farm in the bottom part.
Yeah, we've got a Charizard online though, and it is pushing quite well. It's 3v2 in that top lane, and I think they will probably break this space or leave it on 1.
Yeah, and you know what the great thing about that is, Zenith, that Zula didn't even have to use their Unite move, so it's still available for that next fight that they're going to have, and whether they choose to do this top Regieleki or come down bottom, they have a really powerful Unite move to kind of like, I guess, take out something squishy like a level 5 Braixen. So they do convert that Regieleki on top. No one has started this basement Reggie, so I'm sure this Charizard is looking to either take some more farm or just head down and just Unite the Delphox now, which, you know, what a relief. It hit that level 7.
Yeah, that would be the perfect Unite if it can get in on this Delphox. It is literally scoping it out, and it does find it.
Wow. That's just insane eject into a double kill there. I mean, you press a button and 2 members go off. Flame Streak comes out from the Talonflame, and it's not going to be enough, unfortunately. And, you know, that really sets up for a good overdunk on the bottom. And, you know, to make matters worse, the top Regieleki has also walked in. So this Dodrio is definitely looking for a little bit of a dunk.
Yeah, if you can make it in time, and even if it doesn't, it's got the ability to still score some goals there as well. So they've done really well to pull ahead here, the team struggle, or the strugglers as well. They've done really well to get the levels in as well. A level 10 Mew, a level 10 Dodrio, and they are running away with it at the moment.
And I think if they keep playing for that Charizard Unite, it's going to be a great winning strategy for a lot of these fights, because there's really nothing that Vengeance can actually do if the Mimikyu does not have its Unite to combat this Charizard Unite. There is nothing on the team that can actually stop it. The Charizard Unite is so strong at the moment, post-patch, and I think the Strugglers is really leaning on to using it to its maximum capacity.
Well, it's almost like they saved best for last at this point, because you are absolutely correct. It's a level 12 Charizard. We are not even halfway in the game until now. So this is going to be a very high level Charizard by the time it does finish. And that Unite, yes. I mean, you can see the Mimikyu trying to pick it out with the Shadow Sneak, but you can't even stop this Unite anymore.
Did you see what happened there with when the Shadow Sneak went onto the Charizard? The Clefable immediately placed down its gravity, and I think that's such a point we have to make for good support players. good support players know how other enemies' moves works, and the gravity will stop any player off to come through on that team. So fantastic shout out to the Fable here. As we have an engagement, the beams are coming on from the Mew as they look to rip this Regieleki, but it's going to be going on the side of the strugglers here. Absolutely not struggling for that conversion at all. The Fable really are good at securing, it seems today, both securing the Rayquaza and also that Regieleki as well. Tri-Attack is going to pick off the Talonflame, and this is looking a little bit scary now for Vengeance as the Regieleki is going to be pushing in. Oh, Hooper Unbound going through to just summon people and maybe get some stun off to fend off this attack. The triple trample goes in to knock out the Mimikyu to get that secure of the KO. They pick up KO after KO here as the Hooper goes down once again. They are just running through the top path at the moment, Zenith, as they break the top pad as well. The Delphox jumped into absolute hell over there, instantly deleted and sent home back to base. I mean, yet again, it seems like the Struggler has brought about so much aggression that Vengeance cannot counter at the moment.
Yeah, this is really difficult because you do not want to feed them any further. That Delphox has just been dessert for them at this point, as they do rip through and work their way down to the bottom objective. Most likely, this will be the final bottom lane objective that they will contest for. But that Charizard is looking dangerous right now.
A massive yawn by Nav though, but yet again, no one on the team is actually going to be backing up. I don't know whether the Lax is just getting vision maybe for the team so that they can get their scores off, which is, you know, obviously a good strategy, and sacrificing a Lax is really not too bad. Sacrificing a Delphox though is probably going to be worse for them as the Lax has to just back away to the pad. Yet again, the Charizard getting the levels it needed. They did unite a little bit late there though, Zenith, so we possibly might not be able to see a Charizard unite at the start of this Rayquaza fight. They don't have a lot of farm on their end either because they've broken the pads of the enemy team, really. And with 30 seconds to go, there is the potential for that third Lecky, so I'm sure all of the strugglers are looking to convert this. And the triple trample gets popped by the Dojo! Wait, things are actually looking okay for Vengeance here. A couple of Unites getting used by the Strugglers, though. They need to somehow stop this Regieleki from getting taken by the Strugglers over here, but the Zard is going to be able to convert it for them. And the Mimikyu play rough. Oh no, the play with me, the Unite move gets shut down as well. If there's anything that can take down the Charizard Unite, it is that move, and now it's not going to be even available before they spawn back. And I don't know whether this is going to be going in a good direction for Vengeance at the moment. The Fable takes out Talonflame. That's 2 minutes of Vengeance off and out. The Dwebble, or the Crustle rather, pops his Unite move to keep sustain, to try to knock people out of this Dojo that's somehow still in the playing field. The Delphox has to kite back topside, and the Snorlax able to stick by it. But the beams from off the screens of the Mew aims to take out the Delphox. I mean, this is looking really, really bad for Vengeance at the moment. The Regieleki has also walked in. That's another score for them. Zenith, I mean, the whole team is scattered off the map, but they have so much control.
This is a very, very impressive play because this isn't even a Ray fight. This is just a final team fight, and they've controlled and dominated it really, really well. Especially taking out that Delphox earlier on, that would have relieved them from pressure. As we can see right now, we've got it popping off with the Unite from the Delphox. The Mimikyu is attacking. They need to rip the Ray and get the Ray through.
Yeah, and without that Delphox available, the play with me quickly jumps on the Zard, but it's okay. Zard gets up alive out here. The flames it comes to. The Rayquaza is so low. Can someone secure it on the side of Vengeance? No. It is going to be a team wipe there. The Strugglers absolutely dominated this grand final at the moment and just shows the power of great teamwork, but also continued aggression throughout the game. So big congratulations to the Strugglers for taking the title of the week 2 of the AEOS League warm-up tournaments on the weekend. So, Zula, I mean, just fantastic work with the Charizard Unite, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Almost every occasion it was effective, and they did it quite well. Apart from that last one where he lost it a little bit early, we were slightly worried that they had lost the Unite from the Dodrio, the Charizard, but they kind of managed to pull through, gauge enough time for them to recover from that. And I think that Mimikyu going down 5 seconds before Ray was a pinnacle turning point that was avoided. So they did well to kind of shut them down in that sense as well. But it is a congratulations and a well done to the team of the struggle or the strugglers against the Vengeance in this finals.
Yeah, so a bit unfortunate for the Vengeance here, not able to win this grand finals. And, we do send questions in terms of that Mimikyu moveset we talked about. Obviously, not too impactful with that Clefable being there. But yet again, you have to give credit where credit is due. They played still a fantastic tournament to reach the grand finals 2 weeks in a row. I mean, they're the only team that has done that so far. So big shout out to them. I hope that they keep working on the the synergy and the communication on the way they play, and I'm sure next week it's going to be a fantastic week for them as well. But big congratulations to the strugglers. I don't think we saw them last week at all in the games that we casted, but damn did they come out firing this week, Zenith. I mean, the games that we managed to watch, the amount of control, like you said, of the Rayquaza pit, it seems like in a lot of these games they were always in the lead, it seems. And in a lot of the Ray fights, it was their advantage to start off with. And in a lot of these games, they definitely took it away. And had a commanding lead for most of those games.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you've seen the AOS League last week. You were casting it with I believe Spartan and Lobo as well, and then this week with myself. Next week you're going to be heading off and getting ready for Hawaii, I believe as well. So thank you so much, Fu, for the time that you spent so far. We wish you a really really good time in Hawaii, and I think a lot of the players and the people watching here as well are very envious of anyone that's going towards Worlds and getting to soak in the atmosphere, I think is the right way to phrase it.
I mean, definitely from my end, Zenith, it is really, really cold in wintertime in the OC region at the moment. So definitely a good break from the shivers I get in the morning when I open my window. I'm going to have a lot of sun and a lot of sand and waves there in Hawaii, I hope.
That's true. For everyone tuning in as well, thank you guys. We had a few raiders as well, so thank you guys for raiding us as well. We'll be back next week for another round of the AOS League India, which is always ever so entertaining as well. We look to see you and everyone there. From me and Fu, everyone, take care and have a great week.
See you guys.